Yeah, that's 6 seconds ahead. Then I have a digital clock that says 3:04, 16, 17. I think this one is right. But then Ethan says the one on the computer is the only one that matters, and I can't even see that one because I'm so blind. I can't see it right now. But we'll just assume that we're going to get through. Maybe we're in different time zones this afternoon. Now we have Sue looking at her watch to try to make sure that she's aware which clock is right and which isn't right.
Oh, dear.
How is that impossible?
How did the good one go bad?
That's what I want to know. That's what I noticed. That's the first thing I said when I sat down. So I'm using my little atomic clock on my phone. I'm not gonna risk anything. How did everyone do this weekend? Did you have a good weekend, Sue?
I did. It was great.
It was not the best Super Bowl, Sue. I don't know if you paid attention.
What a snore.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was just, I mean, I'd say, and this is being generous, I think the halftime show is better than the game, and I didn't like the halftime show, but it was better than the game.
I didn't mind the halftime show.
Okay, so let's talk about it here. I didn't mind it either, but it's so funny.
Creative.
It was creative,
Yes.
especially the part because all those bushes, those were like people.
That was amazing.
Well, I mean, look, you would hope that the Super Bowl halftime show is going to be creative, right?
It was.
He didn't wear a dress, so I got that. We got that going for us. But it's just one of the best things to do today. One of my favorite things. I'm not saying it to be your favorite things. Is to go on social media because most of social media is left-wing lunatics trying to mock the NFL or the people that don't like Bad Bunny. They want to mock them. There's so much virtue signaling. So people are up there on Facebook and Instagram. And the Twitter, it's the best show ever. Republicans, you're racist, blah, 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 blah. There's a wife of a prominent sports columnist here in St. Louis on Facebook that proclaimed, I just want to learn Spanish now. It was hot. Really? That's what inspired you to want to learn Spanish? Thank you for laughing at that because I spit Diet Coke out of my nose when I saw that. So, look, my whole deal was, can't we get someone that can at least sing in English just a little bit? Now, we got that, right? We got Gaga last night.
Yeah, that was kind of fun.
At one point, I'm looking, hey, who's that dude? That looks like Ricky Martin. And it was Ricky Martin.
I did the same thing. I thought, where have I... Oh, my
I know.
gosh.
I think I missed a couple others in there, though.
Yeah, I did.
There were some other, like, Cardi B was supposed to be there. I don't know if I saw her.
So, Cardi B was in there, and was it Pablo?
Pedro Pascal.
Oh, yeah. How did I miss him? I didn't see him
Jessica
either.
Alba, and get this, Ronald Acuna Jr., the Braves All-Star. They were all in
At
the
the
part
wedding.
where they were at the part where they were at the house, and there were all the dancers in front of that house. They were in the background standing there kind of just vibing to the music.
Nice. Okay.
I don't know
I didn't notice them.
Connection between why they all were there, but when they panned across, all four of those were in the shot.
Well, good for them.
Yeah.
So this is my favorite.
Well, good for
I don't know what this is. Here, if you missed the show, maybe you tuned into Turning Point, and I didn't do that. I mean, I'm watching the Super Bowl. I'm going to see.
Where it was.
I think everywhere. I think Fox aired it, didn't they? Fox aired live.
It was on YouTube, I know, and Rumble.
Yeah.
I think it was more so online.
Right.
Like
Well,
on social
I didn't watch
streaming.
it because really, I just wanted to see Bad Bunny. This is my favorite part. If you missed it, here's the show. Somebody edited together every I. And there are a lot of them, let me tell you.
Just for a while.
Okay.
That's very funny.
But, Fred had to send me because I'm not smart enough to understand what all the messaging was, and they're climbing on utility poles and, the sugar
Yeah, I didn't get
canes and
that.
all
Was that telling us something?
Yeah, I think it was all telling us
What was it telling
something.
us?
Well, I don't know.
If you have to
They have bad power.
the power
in Puerto
beat
Rico.
power outages in Puerto
After
Rico.
the hurricane, power was not
I
restored.
see.
So he's making a look. I don't really it's not that hard, NFL, really. First of all, I did want a better game, and it sucked. And I turned it off after the halftime show. I mean, I never went back. I looked at one point. What was the halftime score? 9-0?
12-0, I think.
12-0?
Or it may have been 9-0. It was
Okay,
one of the
well,
two.
whatever. I tuned in and it
A lot
said
of field goals.
12-0. Yeah, like the guy set a record for field goals, right? He had 5 field goals. So I did look at my the score on the sports app for a moment. I'm like 12-0. I'm not going back to that. That was in the third quarter. So I was a little surprised that there were maybe a touchdown or two was scored
Well, I
in that
couldn't
game.
believe there was
Whoa!
one.
Whoa, that's nuts, right? Well, that's what happens. I mean, look, you had 2 outstanding defenses.
Yes.
And it was unfortunately a defensive game for the fans. It would be a lot better if it was a bit of a track meet. You get more of that. Well, you didn't even get all that in college football. But we survived Bad Bunny, right? Moving forward. I think we can say we survived it. it's just it was a big. The issue that I have with it is the whole thing, and I don't get it because you guys know this. I don't think there's any doubt that I'm the biggest NFL fan in this room.
Oh, yeah.
And Ethan, you're a pretty big NFL fan, but I mean, we organize our weekends, Becky and I do, because of NFL
sure.
games, because of the Chiefs and Packers. We always have. It was one of the things that brought us back together. I love, professional football. I like college football a lot, but I really love the NFL. And I think we saw examples of how exciting it could be in the weeks leading up to the Super Bowl. Every once in a while, the Super Bowl is a clunker, and we got a clunker. But as a fan of the game, a great American game, look, I just want to see, a good game, a good presentation. Let me just say this. I thought Charlie Puth, and I don't know much about Charlie Puth.
He was great.
That was outstanding, that
Yes.
national anthem he did. He had the little choir with him there and the strings, and I thought that was fantastic. So
Opening ceremony also with Green Day. I thought that was
I missed
kind of fun
that.
too.
well,
I
they
missed it.
made look, I love Green Day, but they did American Idiot, and they did an anti-ice
there
thing.
was-
But they're going to.
that's
Everyone
totally
who
what
was
they're doing.
part of that last night said F ice in one way, shape, or form before this show. Gaga did, Bad Bunny did, and Green Day always is doing that. But I will say that since there was no dress and no outward, like if you're just watching the show, like most people, you have no idea what any of that imagery means, right? Nor do you probably care to find out. So he did his show, and he, then he thanked all the. I guess this was part of it too, because if you say America, you have to remember that there's more than just the United States of America.
Bless America, sea Chile, Argentina, Uruguay, Paraguay,
South America, get it?
Perú, Ecuador, Brasil, Colombia, Venezuela, Guyana, Panamá, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, México, Cuba, República Dominicana,
Gets to us.
y las Antillas, United States,
There.
Canadá, a my motherland, mi patria, Puerto Rico.
There you go. Let me just say this too. Okay, I know he's a really good entertainer, but I don't think the music was that good. Let's take the language out of it, because, I think who else was there last night was Carol G. Carol G's awesome and just smokes the guitar. She's a Latina artist as well. So it's not like I'm always against the language. I actually have some of her music in Spanish that's downloaded, and I have it on my playlist. But there wasn't anything. They showed some of the images from the game itself. I don't know if these are accurate or not, Ethan. You'd have to tell me. Anything I saw today, I'm pretty much saying is AI, even if it wasn't AI, because I don't know what to believe. But they did show images of the stadium, and people were like, "Wait a second, what? What's going on down there?"
The footage was a lot of mostly standing fans, not a lot of dancing. You saw the person occasionally dancing, but I think there was a lack of understanding of the music, right? I mean, understandably, and then also when you look at the difference between what we were seeing on TV and what they were seeing
Dramatically
in
different,
the
yeah.
stadium, I mean, half the time the tall grass stalks, you couldn't even see what was going on.
Right.
So I think there was probably some confusion.
Well,
too.
one of the things I said to Becky when they first started, and I'm like, is there, because I was watching the halftime show and they, had in the background, I'm like, and they've gotten away from this, and I think Kendrick Lamar did this last year. There's really not a stage. There's like an elevated area, but the stage becomes the football field. And if you're down low on, you have better seats for the game, arguably, but you can't see as much of that, to your point. I think the audience, look, it was customized for the television audience. There's, gazillions of people watching. I understand that, but they've drifted far, far from when you used to have an artist up there
And all the
singing
fans.
songs and stage. And now, was he lip syncing? He had to be, right?
I have
Man,
no
he was.
idea. I
He
don't
did
know.
well if he wasn't.
Yeah, I couldn't tell that.
Okay, I think he probably was, but I'm not.
I don't
I'm not
know,
sure.
man. That's a long time to do that. But you're right. It was a lot of energy expended, and he didn't seem to be terribly out of breath. I don't know.
It's hard. It was hard for me to tell because I was trying to. I'd like to think he wasn't, right?
Yeah, I'm going with that.
Did you the only song I recognized was the one that I put in your folder almost every day as you've played it up to this
No, what
point.
is it?
It
Do I
was,
still
well,
have
I don't
it?
think it's in there today.
Okay.
But that's the only. It was the first one he played. That's the one that I always put in your folder when you ask for Bad Bunny music. I was like, hey, that's Mark's song.
There is something that I've had to do today, and I'm being serious about this. So there's some people out there that are posting the English translation of the words from the songs last night. And I don't think that they're accurate. I'm not going to deny that Bad Bunny has some pretty vulgar language that's in some of his songs. But I've seen a lot of people repeating and retweeting this, and I've tried to vet it a little bit, and I see nothing that matches up with what he's saying last night. And I don't like that because then people spread that out there and it goes crazy viral and everyone thinks that happened. If that did happen, I think that people should know about it. But since it probably didn't happen, maybe you shouldn't post stuff like that. Oh, my gosh. I mean, I don't even know what to think about, Savannah Guthrie's mom at this point because we have no new information. And she just put out another video just a few minutes ago. And this aired on Fox, and she put it up. I saw it on Facebook, actually, on Instagram, and on the other networks as well. I mean, we're supposedly, Fred, up against another deadline for ransom, in theory, 5 o'clock Tucson time, which, by the way, are they just an hour off from we are? Because they don't do the daylight saving time there, right? So that would be when we're getting off the air. But if you listen to this audio from Savannah that was just released, she doesn't really address the ransom or the kidnappers very much at all here.
Hi there, everybody. I wanted to come on and just share a few thoughts as we enter into another week of this nightmare. I just want to say, first of all, thank you so much for all of the prayers and the love that we have felt, my sister and brother and I, and that our mom has felt. Because we believe that somehow, some way, she is feeling these prayers.
So
and
the
lifting her even in this moment.
The messaging is not for the people perhaps holding her captive. It's really for you. It's for us. It's for everyone. And she's talking about her mom.
Place. We believe our mom is still out there. We need your help. Law enforcement is working tirelessly around the clock trying to bring her home, trying to find her.
I just think there's so much desperation. That's what you saw last week. They don't have any answers.
Oh, gosh.
They don't know what's going on.
Wait, wasn't today another deadline? What happened?
Well, it's supposed to be here at 5 o'clock.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So that right when we get off the air is supposed to be a deadline. And then, but, again, is that real? Is it manufactured? There was interesting, and I don't know what to make of this, a couple of things over the weekend. One, they were snapping some pictures, flash photography inside her sister's home over the weekend. Now,
I saw that.
There was some indication, I heard Paul Morrow talking about that's with the flash photography, they can look for blood in particular. The other thing that was really weird is, this really is something that probably should have been done a week ago if it hadn't, but they were looking down like a septic tank today. To see if there was a body in there, I think
Paul
right?
Morrow said they were also looking to see if maybe they flushed some electrical equipment down the toilet, which would have ended up somewhere underneath
that's
the house
interesting,
or
Fred.
at the septic tank.
Okay, well, I thought maybe they were thinking somebody dumped the body or something like that.
I thought the same.
That wouldn't be out of the question either. Anyway, we don't really have any updates outside of the new video from Savannah. We'll keep you posted on that. We got a lot going on today. Josh Hammer is going to join us. We're going to talk about some of the things that happened with the Trump savings accounts a couple of weeks ago at Dave Simons. And the Dow hit 50,000 on Friday. I don't know what it is today. We'll have to check what the closing number was. We're going to talk about the halftime show with Brianna Lyman from the Federalist, Cusumano with his wrap-up of the Super Bowl, Charles Lipson tonight, Ben Ferguson at 5:30. There's a lot going on this afternoon. Josh Hammer just around the corner.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, on the roads this afternoon, we've got a lineup on eastbound 44, and it's all due to road work. So as you head toward Jefferson, expect a slow go. But westbound 44 looks fine. At westbound 64, just some moderate volume starting to appear around Clayton Skanker. Now, we do have some volume on northbound 170 headed for Frost. Could be an earlier accident. Westbound 70 looks great out of downtown. And southbound 270, just the beginnings of some volume headed toward Ladue Road. This report brought to you by Barron Mirror Glass and Door. Barron Mirror Glass and Door, simply the finest when it comes to mirror glass and shower doors. You can't find better quality, prices, or service. They have the basics all the way up to the elite. Barron Mirror Glass and Door can't be beat. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
I just may go out with this all day long. Every time Bad Bunny said I think it's going to be a staple today.
Accidents happen quickly. especially in ride shares. Whether you're the driver or the passenger, injuries can leave you with more than just physical pain. They bring uncertainty, stress, and questions about what to do next. At Kaufman Townsley, we understand the challenges you face. We're here to help you navigate the tough time, fight for what you deserve, and get you the support you need. Kaufman Townsley, real people, real results. Call 314-777-7777.
At LendSeek, we know running a business takes heart, hustle, and sometimes a little help. That's why we stand with you with our exclusive AI lending platform, connecting you to over 100 funders. If you've been in business for at least 2 years with a minimum annual revenue of $500,000, you can get up to $1 million in funding in as fast as 24 hours. No collateral, no prepayment penalties, no red tape. Apply today with no cost or obligation at lendseek.com. That's LENDSEEK.com.
100 years. That's how long Overhead Door Company of St. Louis has been repairing and replacing garage doors. A century of trust in St. Louis. Always look for the iconic red ribbon of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis for same-day repair service and no extra charge for evening or Saturday service. Trust your friends at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Schedule online at overheaddoorstlouis.com. That's overheaddoorstlouis.com.
Join Mark Patrick Hypnosis. Lose the weight or stop smoking. Guaranteed only $59.99. Saturday, March 7th at the Residence Inn by Marriott, St. Louis Westport in St. Louis. Weight loss hypnosis starts at 11 a.m. Registration at 10:30 a.m. Stop smoking starts at 2 p.m. Registration 1:30 p.m.
Annie Fry here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They are the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
Hi, it's Mark Cox inviting you to join me September 30th as we discover the charm of Switzerland, Austria, and Germany with Colette Travel. Spend 4 nights in Bern and then 4 nights at the foot of the Alps in Innsbruck. From the cobblestone streets to the postcard-worthy mountain landscapes of the amazing Alps, we're going to explore the Swiss capital of Bern and lovely Lucerne, the Swiss paradise on the lake. We'll travel the Austrian countryside to Salzburg with a visit to Mozart's birthplace, and then Mirabelle Gardens featured in The Sound of Music. This and so much more. Colette handles all the details. The flights, the meals, the hotels, the local experiences. All you have to do is have the time of your life. Don't miss this trip. Meet me and the folks from Colette to learn more at the Lodge at De Pere, Tuesday, February 24th at 2 p.m. Call Colette at 800-581-8942 or go to 971talk.com/events for details.
The Mark Reardon Show, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Well, so you know, I had to have a little fun with my own Bad Bunny Oreo at my house. I put some pictures of him up on the socials. He was very uninterested in the real Bad Bunny. Yeah, he just was kind of hanging out, flopping in front of the TV, waiting for more football last night.
Shock.
I really did not turn that game on. I can't believe I'd never turned it on again after halftime.
I didn't either.
Ugh.
It was a snore.
Here's I don't know how to read this tweet from Josh Hammer. He's not being very clear. See if you can define this. He goes, Roger Goodell is trash for greenlighting an all-Spanish halftime show, and U.S. Olympians in Italy need to shut up and represent the flag. I can't really tell what you're saying there, Josh Hammer. You're being a little shy. How are you this afternoon?
You know, Mark, every so often I can beat around the bush, but sometimes I just call like I see my friend, and that's what I did this morning.
Yeah, you know, the whole thing with the halftime show, it's like the same thing. We're here every year doing the same thing. Like, what is the NFL doing? And then it alienates the fans. Did you see the guy that was in the bar that went viral, where all the people in the bar, like 80% of the people wanted to watch the Turning Point? So he turns on the Turning Point show, and then some dude comes up because he wants to see Bad Bunny, and he's all in his face. So we can't even get along with the halftime show, Josh, can we?
Yeah, but I mean, there was no reason to do this, right? I mean, you could. Once upon a time, we picked fairly mainstream people to do the Super Bowl halftime show. I mean, I remember the Rolling Stones. I remember Bruce Springsteen. Prince was a great halftime show performer. Maroon 5 was just fine. Tom Petty, thank you, of course. The late great
I like
Tom
Bruno
Petty.
Mars. Bruno Mars did a great job.
For sure. Actually, I actually even enjoyed the West Coast Rap Tribute in the LA Rams Super Bowl a few years ago. I mean, there are absolutely tasteful ways to do this. But what we saw yesterday was simply not one of them. And it's compounded by the fact that you had Green Day, which is a deeply ideological band, do the opening musical act. Then you had the black national anthem. I have no idea what that's supposed to be. Frankly, it's clearly bizarre, and the whole thing just rubbed a lot of people, Mark, the wrong way. And to your point as well, it's also just deeply alienating to a lot of football fans. Football, much like NASCAR, much like a lot of other sports, traditionally is most popular in the South and the Midwest. Less so the NFL, primarily college football, but still to an extent. The sport of football is really kind of a bread and butter, red-blooded American kind of sport. It's a sport of gladiatorial combat that kind of gets to the heart of our American competitive spirit there. And it's just a shame that we're having to kind of endure this and what really should be a moment for American exceptionalism on the global
I think Roger Goodell and the league knows this because there's a lot of people I would put in my category, Josh, and I mentioned this at the beginning. I'm a huge fan, huge NFL fan. And as much as I didn't like this and I was very confused, watching the show, and I know that they do it every year, I'm still going to watch football. And I'm watching football for everything that led up to yesterday because yesterday was kind of a dud of a game, but the playoffs were great. The season was great. And I think that they take us for granted because they know how loyal we are. Now, I don't know if they're trying to, obviously they've made this effort to expand the reach internationally, and that's going to add to the coffers, and Roger Goodell has done a good job at that. But I don't get why they can't just, simplify the halftime show. There's plenty of artists out there, whether they're from the UK, Australia, or wherever, that might be able to speak in English, and we'd be able to understand them. But let's talk about some other stuff here. I had Jamie Reed on the show last week. It's 3 years ago this month that she wrote that piece for the Free Press and kind of made Children's Hospital and WashU a bit of ground zero in this gender nonsense. And you wrote a column asking the question, and maybe we're getting closer, is this the end of transgender hysteria? You and I have been on this path together. We've talked about this the last few years. Man, there's a lot of stuff that's happened since Jamie wrote that piece.
So first of all, I remember that piece very well, actually. That was really one of the first whistleblower-style pieces that got out there. It was Chris Rufo. It was a very select few just a few years ago. Now it's really kind of all exploding. So look, the thing, Mark, that compelled me to write this most recent column of mine, questioning whether or not the transgender hysteria has come to an end, was this court case actually out of my home county. It was actually out of my home, like literally the place of my birth, actually. I was born in White Plains Hospital, and this case comes out of White Plains, New York, in Westchester County in suburban New York City. And there was a remarkable court judgment that came home about a week and a half ago where for the very first time in American history, they found that a psychologist and doctor could be held liable for a botched transgender quote-unquote surgery. And it was $2 million in total medical malpractice damages, both for past suffering and for potential future suffering. This is a breakthrough. I've been saying for years and years and years, I've been saying that the way to end this insanity is through a mass class action lawsuit, make them feel the legal liability. And essentially within seconds, you had various medical organizations, the AMA, the Plastic Surgeons Organization, they all get out there and said, you know what? We are no longer universally advising that those under the age of consent, under age 18, 19, whatever the case may be, do these so-called surgeries. So it's deeply propitious. I don't want to put the cart before the horse. I'm sure the transgender lobby has a little bit of a fight left in it there, but ultimately, in the mid to long term, the truth prevails. The truth is a very stubborn habit of prevailing here, and I think that's what we saw here in this case, and hopefully, God willing, a lot more better news to come.
So, when I spoke with Jamie last night, and here's one update and one difference, you mentioned this. When we were speaking, she had indicated that the American Academy of Pediatrics had not weighed in, but in fact, they did on Thursday, didn't they?
Yeah, so that actually happened essentially as I was putting pen to paper to write my column, actually. So it was pretty much breaking news when I wrote it. They became the latest to weigh in there. So it happened essentially in rapid succession. You had the Association of the Plastic Surgeons were the first, and then the American Medical Association, the big dog. I'm not sure if they put out like a formal statement, but in an on-the-record comment to National Review magazine, they basically said, you know what? We agree with the plastic surgeons. We're not going to blanket endorse this stuff anymore. And then the pediatrics followed on Thursday. So the question at this point is who will be next? I mean, it seems like they're all kind of falling in line here. One thing that an astute friend said to me is that one of the last dying gasps for the transgender ideologues, I think, could also be the insurance companies. For as long as the insurance companies continue to offer this as part of their plans and the premiums reflect that, that could be one thing that could keep this thing going. But as long as you have more additional court judgments finding medical malpractice for botched transgender surgeries, then that also mitigates against that. So I don't know exactly where it's going to go, Mark, but I'm trying to read the tea leaves here, and I think we're past peak insanity when it comes to the transgender issue.
It has been such a great team effort too. I mean, I think of Jamie, certainly Billboard Chris Elston's done a great job. Then you throw in some of the women's sports advocates like Riley and Jen Say, and you mentioned Chris Rufo. It really has been a team effort to get the word out there when most traditional media would not cover these issues. They kind of were forced to in the case last week of Fox Varian, who gets the $2 million judgment from the county that you were born in. But that's huge. And now you have, one of the things that Jamie's pointed out, and I've pointed this out as well, Josh, because I have many gay friends who are in, my age demographic. The lesbians and the gays that are older in particular, they do not like this trans nonsense. So they're willing and ready to put it behind them as well.
Oh, yeah. I remember having a conversation. I don't think he would mind, so I'll just say it publicly, with D. Roy Murdoch, who is a veteran of conservative media, who is himself gay. I mean, he has very strident feelings on the transgender issue. I think I was sitting next to D. Roy at some dinner or gala of sorts a few years ago, and he kind of just let it rip on this issue. And again, I'm pretty sure that he wouldn't mind me saying that because he said it publicly. So, look, I mean, this was always a stretch. I mean, essentially what happened, Mark, let's go back to 2015. In 2015, you had the Obergefell case, which constitutionalized same-sex marriage at the Supreme Court, thereby constitutionalizing the issue, and much like Roe v. Wade in 1973, until that was overturned, but the Obergefell case then took that issue off of the table for democratic debate. And they immediately then moved on to their next frontier, which was this transgender issue. But there's all sorts of problems there. One of the things that we heard from gay activists for years and years was kind of this Lady Gaga notion of born this way. But that was always in a deep state of intellectual tension with the transgender argument that you could be born in the wrong body. It doesn't actually make sense. Pick one. They're actually mutually irreconcilable propositions there. So there's all sorts of kind of tensions here that were really bubbling over for the surface. And this is increasingly a very unpopular issue with the American people as well, by the way. I mean, the trans sports issue, and they just heard cases at the Supreme Court on that literally less than a month ago. Idaho and West Virginia were defending their laws at the high court. That's an 80-20 issue. So the American people are falling in line here. So are the medical associations. And at this point now, so are the courts. So it's basically a full court press.
Josh Hammer, Newsweek senior editor at large. You can hear him every Saturday, 1 p.m. on 97.1 FM Talk with his show, his syndicated show, The Josh Hammer Show. Always great to have you on, Josh. Thank you so much. Have a great week.
You too, Mark.
All right,
Thank
take care.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Not a bad commute right now. If you're just headed out the door, we look good on most of the roadways. Now, there is a stall southbound 270, really near Gravelway, but it's on the right shoulder. The lanes themselves are open. We did have an accident on eastbound 370 at Elm. Watch for that one. It's in the left lane, but it's going against rush hour, and it's 370. So there's not a lot happening. Northbound 170 slowing at Frost, but it's just moderate volume. Eastbound 44, we've got road work causing delays between Grand and Jefferson. And on the Illinois side, we've got a jam on Route 3, and it's an accident reported just a little north of Monsanto Avenue, causing a delay. And there was also a slow go on eastbound 64. This is due to road work. It's just east of 157. This report is brought to you by Point with an E Pest Control. I'm sorry, this clock is freaking out too. That's why
I know. There's you got to decide which one is working. And most of them are not.
I'm Sue Thomas, and that's Traffic 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Tired of mice? Point Pest Control finds their entry points, eliminates the infestation, and seals them out for good with our exclusion services. Mention Annie to get 10% off on top of any other special. Call 636-798-0023. Visit Point with an E, pointpestcontrol.com.
We had a great conversation, I think it was last week, with Neil Gelman of the Gelman team, just talking about real estate in St. Louis and really nationally what the trends have been. And look, you still have a market that has, and this is what Neil and Mark will tell you, that has a lot of demand and not a lot of supply. But things have changed a little bit in the last few years. I mean, there was this automatic assumption, and I think for a while it was happening, that if you were going in to buy a house, you're going to get, probably competing offers all above asking price. Well, that could still happen, but you got to make sure that that home is ready, move-in ready. The buyers do not want to have to do anything to it, especially if they're going to pay your price or above. So they specialize in this at the Gelman team. They can make sure that you get the most money for your home if that's what you want. Of course, you can always go in the other direction with an instant cash offer. The Gelmans have a great tool on their website, and it's right at the top of the page where there's a banner that says, how much is your home really worth? Find out for free. And you can enter your address in there, and it kicks you back a number that is very accurate to what you might list that house for this week if you needed the Gelmans, for example. And then they have that information in case you want them to go to work for you. Call the Gelmans with eXp Realty at 314-336-1991. The website is thegelmanteam.com.
According to MasterCard, nearly half of small businesses have been a victim of a cyber attack. As cybercrime escalates, ThrottleNet is calling on businesses to strengthen their security posture by taking a free online IT security audit right from your desk. This 3-minute online assessment provides an immediate score to see security gaps and vulnerabilities in your network. For 26 years, ThrottleNet has supported your business IT everything right here in St. Louis. In fact, no client of ThrottleNet has ever paid a ransom. So visit throttlenet.com/971 to take the free assessment today.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
At Graybar, we know your time is money. That's why our services go beyond parts and products. With kitting, pre-assembly, wire carts, and Graybar smart reels that keep you moving. We stage materials and manage logistics so you can spend less time sorting and more time installing. And with locations nationwide, we deliver when and where you need it, working to make your job easier every step of the way. Yep, Graybar does that.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
This portion of the show is sponsored by Jerry Kelly, heating, air conditioning, electrical, and plumbing.
From the gateway to the airwaves. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis conservative.
I believe the Dow finished over 50,000 again today. It hit that mark on Friday. Economist Stephen Moore, because the president says it's going to hit 100,000 before he's out of office.
It's possible. I mean, we're seeing this spectacular growth of our technology sector. One of the reasons that we've seen this huge rise in the Dow, and by the way, the NASDAQ is growing even faster, is because the United States over the last 25 years has completely dominated the internet age. If we do the same thing in artificial intelligence and robotics, you could see, I mean, look, 100,000 in 3.5 years, that would be pretty amazing. But it is possible that we could continue to see this very positive run in the valuation of American companies.
All right, a little optimism there from Stephen Moore. Let's see if it's shared by Dave Simons, partner and managing director, One Private Wealth, is with us this afternoon. Hello, David. How are you?
I'm well, Mark. Man, I want what he's having.
Look, if we hit 100,000 by the time Trump's out of office, I'm done with radio. I'll tell you that right now. I'm retired, and I hope we can do it. I'd be very happy to be on the golf course more often.
I mean, mortgage the house. No, I mean, you can be optimistic, but you're talking about a 25% annualized over the last let's just say the odds aren't zero, but they're pretty low.
Right. Okay, but let's focus on the other part of that. I mean, what we can hear Stephen say is that we've got a lot of momentum right now in this market. There's no doubt about that. Look, Dave, a year ago, people were talking about recession and all the tariffs and everything, and I know that the market goes up and down depending on circumstances, but you certainly can't argue with where it's been here the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, the Bulls certainly have a pretty good case to argue right now because you do have a lot of momentum in the economy. It looks pretty good. It's not perfect. There's no perfect economy, but it's rolling along quite well. And let's keep in mind, too, the so-called big, beautiful bill, a lot of the tax incentives and benefits there haven't even really hit the economy yet. Those will come out throughout the year. So, and corporate earnings been very strong the last couple of years. They're expected to rise again. There are always headwinds, but I wouldn't bet against the market right now.
Yeah. So what are the things that you might be concerned about or even optimistic about that could relate to improvement or, the market dropping just a little bit? Are there numbers here? I mean, we're still kind of keeping check on inflation, on jobs numbers, et cetera.
Mark, it's really interesting. This is a headline news-driven market right now, more than I've ever seen. You go back just a couple of weeks, and when the president announced that Kevin Warsh was going to be the new Fed chair, that was the impetus. You wouldn't think about it, but that was the start of the big crash in silver and a little bit in gold because he was seen as the safe pick. He was the one that was going to not acquiesce to Trump's demand to push rates down to 1%. He was going to be the adult in the room. Everyone said, yay, Kevin Warsh. Well, then we don't really need to own all this silver and gold as a hedge to inflation. And it crashed it. Well, then last week or two, we get this word from Anthropic that, hey, just sitting at your laptop, you can even build your own software. We don't need software companies anymore. Oh, my goodness, we're going to crush the software stocks. And they crashed. And then last week, Jensen Huang of NVIDIA said, oh, that's too much. That's ridiculous. We need software companies. Oh, let's bid software stocks up. That's where we are, Mark, right now. So the market is as volatile as I remember in quite some time. If the headlines, it just takes one thing that the market thinks is a negative from President Trump or anybody, it'll go down. But I still wouldn't bet against the trend up and to the right.
So a couple of weeks ago, and you and I didn't talk about it at the time, they introduced something called Trump accounts. And, it's a savings account. In fact, there was a Super Bowl ad for this yesterday. So what would you say about that in those? I'm not even sure I have a complete understanding of how this works.
Anything, Mark, that addresses what I call the retirement crisis, people not having enough money to retire, and also brings education and information to young people about the efficacies of long-term investing, I'm all for. I love the idea. It hopefully is just the start, but basically it's for newborns. Born from last year in 2025 through the end of 28, will get $1,000. You just open a Trump account, which starts later this summer, and the government will give you $1,000. And then, but here's the biggest part of this: anybody can add up to another $5,000 on top of that. So parents, grandparents, your next door neighbor, or whatever. And if you work for a very charitable employer, that employer can add another $2,500. Mark, I crunched the numbers. If someone were to max out on this, a newborn,
right,
and somebody put $5,000 in there plus the employer $25,000, you do that till you're 18, and then you can't contribute anymore from those other outside sources, and then you just let it run. If you just get market returns, by the time that child is 60 years old, you're in the $3 to $4 million range. So this, yes, we're talking long term. We're talking 60 years. And even after inflation, that money is still going to mean something. It won't correct the retirement issues that we have now, but it certainly goes a long way to addressing, at least for this young generation.
I think I've told you about this, and I use this as a tool with my daughter, and there's different, apps, I'm sure, but I use something called Acorns, which is a rounding app. And, I take money that, if I buy something for $9.90, 10 cents goes into Acorns and et cetera. And then I put $50 a week in as well. Dave, I've been doing this for 3.5 years, and my return in those 3.5 years has been pretty generous. It's 24.86 after the market today. But after 3.5 years, I almost got $11,000 in this damn account. And I'm teaching my daughter about how money grows, and this could very well be something that either offsets, some of the college expenses or perhaps gets her a car when she turns 16 years old. So it's fun. It's fun for me. I wish, it's one of my biggest regrets, and I think you could say this about the country, that we do not have better financial education. I'm 6 years old. I finally, understand a lot of this stuff, but it took me all those years to understand all this stuff, Dave, if you know what I mean.
That's exactly right. If I were king for a day and I could do one thing, I've always said, I would require all public schools to have financial and investment related classes. Keep history, math, English, science, all that stuff, all important. But what's the one thing, no matter what job or line of work that you go into, that you will need to know to be successful later in life, and that is how to put money away for yourself, because the government may or may not be there for you. We don't have pensions anymore. Social Security, what is that going to look like for someone born today? Yeah, good question. So we are going to have to learn to take care of ourselves, but this country is not doing the job. And I would change that. So kudos to you, Mark, for helping your young one through this.
Well, and again, I try to impress this upon my other kids who are in their 20s as well. But, look, I have made a lot of mistakes over the course of my life financially, and I wish that I hadn't. Then, going through divorce, that kind of wipes you out. So I've had different periods where you may have had to rebuild. But I will say that if you commit to the savings, certainly – and I've been back in St. Louis for 20 years. I was wiped out in the early 2000s, David, but the last 20 years have been pretty good, trying to sock his way as much as you can. But younger people, I don't have a good sense on whether or not that's a priority. The other problem is you switch jobs a lot. So let's say you have a 401k. Do you take the time to flip it to the next, level, or do you cash it out? Do you actually save over the period of your life when you're switching jobs so much? Right. That becomes a bit more of a challenge, I think.
Yeah, Mark, this whole game of long-term investing is very back-end loaded, and that's problematic in that when you're 25, 30, 35 years old and you're trying to put money away and you're trying to raise a family and you're just thinking, man, my net worth just isn't growing. I'm told that I should put this much money in the 401k and my IRA, and here I am with X amount of dollars. When's this stuff ever going to grow? I get it. We've all been through there. But if you do it right and you stay with it through all the ups and downs of the markets, I'm telling you, you're going to get to 50, 55, 60 and beyond. And then it starts to grow. Think about this, Mark. $100,000 turning to $200,000 is the exact same thing as $1 million turning into $2 million on a percentage basis.
That's right.
But it's the dollar amount that is so much more enormous, and that doesn't happen when you're young. That only happens decades later. It's trying to get young people to focus on that reality decades later, and that's difficult to do.
Great messaging. Dave Simons, always great to have you on. Thank you so much, David. Always great to see where we are. Hopefully the next time, because we're on a little bit of a roll here. We've had you on, I think, a couple of times when things haven't been sucky, because usually it's when they're sucky, right?
I know. Well, it's been pretty good the last couple of years, so let's keep
it rolling. All right.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We do have a few things to mention, like a stall northbound 270 at 70, but that's on the right shoulder. For the most part, we're okay. Same thing. There was a stall southbound 141, a little bit past Manchester, but that is on the shoulder as well. So if you're just headed out, 70 westbound in great shape. Northbound 170, a little slow at Frost. We've got eastbound 44 jamming headed for Jefferson. That's all due to road work. And 6440 lining up approaching Hampton out through McCausland and a little bit slow at 270. On the Illinois side, road work causing delays eastbound 64 east of 157. And an accident reported, but now it looks like a slow-moving train. Not helping the situation. Southbound Route 3 at Monsanto Avenue. This report is brought to you by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. 100 years. That's how long they have been repairing and replacing garage doors. For same-day repair service, no extra charge for evening or Saturday service. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Schedule online, overheaddoorstlewis.com. I'm Sue Thomas. That's Traffic, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Let's talk about some of the great things that the Missouri Athletic Club does for the community. We just picked our charities for 2026. The MAC has the Charitable Society for Children. That's an extension of the Sports Foundation. Sort of operates as a club within a club, and each year we pick 3 great charities locally. This year it's Books for Newborns, Joshua's Great Things, which helps parents and families with resources for kids with brain cancer, and then Missouri Kids is another great organization, which you have a lot of people that suffer, young athletes who suffer life-altering injuries that threaten their independence, and Missouri Kids helps with that. So all three of those great charities being helped throughout this year from members' donations and generous gift giving. It's something that we do each and every year with different charities, and it's a great way to support folks throughout the community where you know that government can't control all these things and really can't solve all the problems. You can always find out more about all of these things at the MAC website at mac-stl.org.
Mark Cox here. I get to attend President Trump's State of the Union address, and I'm taking you with me. We'll have real-time reaction and the Mark Cox Morning Show live from the Fox News D.C. Bureau, February 24th and 25th, sponsored by Corral Roofing and Golden Oak Lending.
One of the biggest gifts you can give your family is peace of mind. That's why I trust and recommend Civia Law. They've helped so many families, including mine, right here in our community with estate planning, wills, trusts, powers of attorney, and elder law issues. I've seen how stressful it can be when a loved one passes without a plan. Families are left confused, sometimes tied up in probate court, and it can cost so much in time and money. But with Civia Law, you don't have to worry about that. They'll walk you through everything and even deliver your completed documents in just 2 weeks from your first appointment. And here's something special just for you. Mention the Annie Fry Show, and the first 10 listeners right now will get a free strategy session. That's a $300 value. 833-995-WILL. Just be sure to mention the Annie Fry Show when you call. Civia Law has 7 convenient locations across Illinois and Missouri, including in Edwardsville, Swansea, and Creve Coeur. Secure your legacy and protect the people you love. Call 833-995-WILL. That's 833-995-WILL, or visit civialaw.com.
We've been here 30 years. 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right nice soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by its 25-year transferable warranty.
It just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call now for a free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
There have been neighbors that have come by and said, "Did you just have your house painted?" Because they wanted to know who the contractor was. And I said, "No, it's actually Rhino Shield."
877-25rhino.com.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Mark Reardon is St. Louis conservative.
I have so much, believe me, I don't really only want to talk about Bad Bunny today, which we haven't really only talked about Bad Bunny, but there's so much good stuff surrounding Bad Bunny. You know who Anna Navarro is, who's on The View?
Yeah.
I mean, they had to gush over this thing because, you feel obligated to gush over it because of the politics. I'm telling you, if you look at social media today, you basically have left-wing people out there that are mocking the Turning Point USA show and calling Best Bunny, calling Bad Bunny the best show ever. Virtue signal after virtue signal, and they didn't even know who Bad Bunny was until a couple of weeks ago. But now it's the best show that they've ever seen, and they're watching it twice. And I'm telling you, I've seen some of this on Facebook because I dared to look at that toxic thing today. So if you despise Trump, you loved the halftime show. Even if you didn't see it, you still loved it. And you don't know why you loved it, but you know that you're obliged to love it. So here's Anna Navarro kind of explaining her reason.
I really can't. And there were so many people texting me yesterday on my timeline who told me they were weeping. And I can't overstate what it means to the Latino community that has seen itself persecuted, attacked, racially profiled. We have seen for the last year our children dragged through the streets. We have seen our pregnant women, our elderly dragged through the streets.
Okay, no, you haven't. No, you haven't. Okay, so they just let her go on with all that crap, blah, 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 on The View. There have been a couple of things certainly that have happened this year that I will grant are somewhat questionable, but this disappearing thing that you keep talking about, it wasn't happening.
Disappeared and detained. To have Bad Bunny use that platform to say, do not otherize us. We are all part of America.
Is that what he did?
Otherize.
Otherize. But I mean, is that the takeaway that people have from that?
I just thought it was...
Don't other. I'm going to otherize a little bit because he mentioned all these other countries in South America or North America. I'm going to focus on my country, which is the United States of America. But everybody, I've struggled with this my whole life, Sue, because, and maybe some people can relate, but I don't feel like I have a culture other than American culture. I'm not beholden to, first of all, I don't know my biological father. I don't really know all my heritage, but I don't care, right? My culture
Which is healthy.
You know what's part of my culture? The freaking Super Bowl is part of my culture.
Yeah.
Like, that's a big part of my culture.
Yeah.
There's been a Super Bowl every single year I've been alive. And I've been watching them since I was probably 5 years old. So it's so important for all these other people to have their culture represented in our country, which is fine. We're a melting pot. But can you imagine, like, I was trying to think of an analogy, like maybe the French Open, right?
Okay.
They don't really do a halftime show,
No,
if you will.
there's nothing like that.
But what would be the
soccer?
analogy to have? I was thinking about that, like Premier League, but they have
Yeah.
different languages,
Well, that's
obviously.
true.
But what's a big nationalized event that you would have that's like one of the
World
biggest events for your
Series?
country? No, in another country.
yeah.
But then you feature someone that doesn't even speak your language to do your halftime show.
Football's
right?
all I can think about. You're right. And if we somehow sent over an American band, that would be weird.
I think it would be.
And we are all equal and we all belong. And love is stronger than hate.
That's the thing.
Yeah. To have him give that.
Okay, wait a second. Okay, hold on a second. You do not all belong, okay? No, you do not. Not if you're not legally here, you do not.
Grammy, the Grammy to the little boy. Oh, yeah. That represents, there's 3,800 children in detention centers right now. So the different symbolisms of, of having Ricky there, who's part of a different generation, of course, but knows what it's like to go around the world without losing his heritage, always knowing where he comes from, being proud of his roots. Micro joys help us deal with macro sadness. I have had macro sadness for over a year under Trump, seeing what he has done to my community.
Okay, so enough for her. But are you kidding me? How about, I don't even know how to grab that. I really don't. Because I just want to watch a damn football game. I just want to be entertained. I'll be entertained by the halftime show. I wasn't really entertained. But that's because, there's only one answer for that, right? If you did not like the halftime show, you're an evil racist. Just remember that.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
On the roads, we've got an issue on the Illinois side. Route 3 southbound, there was a report of an accident, and it's really jammed approaching Monsanto Avenue. Now an accident eastbound 64 on the Illinois side approaching 157. And we've got on the Missouri side a jam eastbound 44 approaching Jefferson. There's road work there. Southbound 55 slowing at Bates. Westbound 40 lining up approaching Hampton. Really not too bad out there at this hour. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
My best friend Jenny came over for coffee, said it's cold enough in here to play hockey. Well, my furnace broken, it's already late. Call Jerry Kelly because they're open till 8. JerryKelly.com. They're fast and they're good and they got it going on. Jerry Kelly.
Well, here we are. We're just a couple of weeks away. In fact, it's a week from tomorrow. I cannot believe that we're already into mid-February, which is just insane. But a week from tomorrow will be the 17th. We're going to get together with the team from the Retirement Advisory Group for the first seminar that we have in 2026. We do 5 of these a year. One change for those of you who might have been interested in these in the past or maybe have even shown up, we're not going to do them at Plaza Frontenac anymore. We're going to do them at the DoubleTree in Chesterfield. Great location, real easy access. off of 6440. If you would like to meet with St. Louis's leading authority on retirement, the official financial planners of this show that have a different strategy than maybe you're familiar with, which is safely linking to the market, which will help you lock in your gains so you can have a better retirement. So how do you do this? Well, you just register. You go online to retirementkey.com. There is a button that you click. It says register. Come see us at 6:30 on that Tuesday night, February 17th. It's a quick in and out. We do a little intro. Thomas and the team take it from there. They'll get you out of there in about an hour and a half or so. So you're going to be real happy. You're going to learn something. There's no obligation whatsoever. Get signed up today at retirementkey.com for Thomas Helbig and the Retirement Advisory Group.
License number GL250000615.
Hey, it's good to see you.
Two sounds that can wreck your sleep. A drip and a toilet that won't stop running.
Drip, drip, all night.
Good news. We're doing plumbing now. Same folks, same care, same we do it right.
Leaky faucet, running toilet.
Or a stubborn clog, call Grasser.
Electric and plumbing, the Grasser way.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeservices.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Hey, Max, you look sharp in that purple tie. Ready to harness the world as a guide dog?
You bet, Daisy. And your purple service dog vest really pops against your shiny fur.
First day on the job for both of us. We've got this, right?
You bet. Dogs Inc. trained us well.
Ready to make a difference for our humans?
Born ready.
Discover how extraordinary guide and service dogs change lives at no cost to the recipients. Visit dogsinc.org.
Well, if you went to the Super Bowl yesterday, you already know this, but you might not know this. They were selling a $180 hamburger at that game. Was it worth it? We have a review coming up, plus Sue's News on a Monday afternoon just around the corner after 5.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
From the Guthrie family, I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
We are at an hour of desperation, and we need your help.
Savannah Guthrie posting a new video alone, urging the public anywhere, not just in Tucson, to report anything that might help on day 9 of the search for her 84-year-old mother, Nancy.
I wanted to come on and just share a few thoughts as we enter into another week of this nightmare.
This ahead of a deadline today, the second deadline that was set in a suspected ransom note last week. Over the weekend, the Today Show host in a video with her siblings said they had received a message and that they would pay.
That, to many people, the message on Saturday appeared to be using language that sort of played into a worst case scenario in terms of the well-being of Nancy Guthrie. This seemed to talk more very much not a best case scenario, that is obviously getting back, but a not so bad case scenario in that she said, we believe our mother is hearing these prayers. We believe our mother is out there.
Fox's Jonathan Hunt in Tucson, where the FBI and Sheriff's Department are leading an ongoing investigation. One student hospitalized, another in custody after a school shooting in Maryland. Rockville police responding to Wooten High School this afternoon.
The school was put on lockdown and a reunification center established as worried parents lined up in their cars waiting outside the school to pick up their kids.
Again, you would think that this neighborhood wouldn't have problems like this, but there's been numerous incidents, and I'm not really sure how they've been handled. I don't have a good understanding.
That mother told Fox 5 DC there'd been incidents involving racist vandalism, swastikas drawn at the school, and a previous bomb threat.
Jessica Rosenthal there. America's listening to Fox News.
Hear that? That's Mike. He took ZQL Pure Z's, so now he's sleeping soundly on a Sunday night. ZQL Pure Z's are fast-acting melatonin gummies with a complementary botanical blend to help Mike get the sleep he needs to wake up refreshed and ready to conquer Monday.
Let's do this Monday.
ZQL Pure Z's, just for sleep. Really great sleep. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors when you need more comfort for yourself. Use as directed.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
No weather concerns at all this evening or overnight. Clear skies, and we should dip down to about 42 degrees. We can handle that. On Tuesday, pretty nice day. Partly sunny skies, 62 for the high in the afternoon. Tuesday night, some clouds, maybe a spot shower, but really tough to find. 35. Wednesday, sunny skies and 50. Thursday, clouds and 47. A real solid shot of rain Saturday and Saturday night. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
All right, welcome back. Monday afternoon, pretty nice one, too. A lot of sunshine, some warming temperatures. That snow, it is a melting. I think we got some cooler temps later in the week, but this is a pretty nice start for the week. Yesterday I was going to complain because I was out early in the day, and I thought this whole thing with approaching mid-40s is not going to happen. And then by the afternoon, it felt pretty good. I know.
It was chilly in the morning.
Yeah.
Sweating in the afternoon.
I was cussing out the old weather folks, but I took Max, the puppy, for a bit of a walk, jog, if you will, before the football game, because Sunday's the day he doesn't go to puppy daycare, so he was having
I bet
he needed energy to be worked out. There's no doubt about that. So I've never been to a Super Bowl before. I kind of I don't really care that much. I always said that if Mizzou was in the Final Four, I would have to find a way to get there. And I think that if they went to, like in football, national championship, I'd be pretty compelled, like our friend Alex Rich was. But I've never, even with the great run with the Chiefs, and almost went to I think it was 2011 when the Packers were in the Super Bowl. But really, I like watching it from my couch, and it's pretty comfortable, right?
I was there in 2000 in Atlanta when the Rams beat the Titans.
Wow.
And I was in the top row, and I think I watched like half of the game on the big screen.
Sure. Yeah. Well, you're so far up there, right?
Right.
But I mention this because, look, they have all kinds of cool things in the stadium and then expensive things as well. So there was Jana Bartle, who is a columnist from the New York Times and the Athletic, wrote that she had walked around Levi's Stadium and found, $8 waters, $19 beers, $36 team-themed specialty cocktails, and a $180 burger. Now, that was the most expensive concession on the menu, but I hope so. Calling it a burger might be underestimating its quality, because it's a bone-in braised veal shank coated in, and what I'm about to tell you, I have no idea how to pronounce it. Okay. In a Mirepoix, in a mirepoix demi-glaze and blue cheese fondue, served, of course, on a brioche bun.
I could eat that.
Levi Restaurants was reportedly only preparing 200 for the game yesterday. And she said it's heavy, about 5 pounds. You need 2 hands to dodge the concourse. She says you got 2 hands to dodge the concourse traffic and find a place to dig in.
Dang.
It is meant to serve 4 people. Okay.
Oh, okay. Thank you. That makes more sense.
But with tax and before tip, it's $196.46, $50 a person if you're sharing. But she kind of, said that it really wasn't finger food. She said the meat was a little bit more like pot roast. It was cold but tender and fell off the bone easily with a fork. She said the meat was probably her favorite part. But that's
Did you see that? Here's what it looks like, Fred. Did you see it? It's not particularly
It's tall.
attractive.
Yeah, it's tall.
I mean, they could have made it more appetizing.
I mean, it's even hard to, because the bone, this will sound dirty, the bone is sticking up so much in the picture,
Well,
right?
it is. In fact, until you said it was bone in, I couldn't figure out what they looked like. I couldn't figure out what that was.
You would never, if you saw someone this, it looks like a giraffe's leg being stuck in a piece of bread. That's essentially what it looks like, right?
It totally does.
Oh, no, we're going backwards in time again. Look at our clocks, Sue.
Oh, look, I've just got 7.
We've got 7 now. Our time is 7.
We live in... If you missed the start of the show, we have
Wait
how
a
many
minute.
clocks in here? 1, 2, 3, 4. There's only one that's operating even remotely close. The one that's in front of me now is moving
Oh, my
backwards
gosh.
again.
Oh, you're killing me. Okay, I have to. I'm putting my watch out because it goes to seconds. Okay.
And then on the topic of the Super Bowl, since we're going to talk a little bit more about Bad Bunny at the bottom of the hour, and I think you might have some stuff in Sue's News. Do you have Super Bowl commercials in Sue's News or not?
I can throw that
No,
in
I'm
there.
not asking you to.
No,
I
I have other stuff.
Okay, so I will say, that I think I missed a fair number of the commercials because I turned the game off after
Same.
halftime. And
Same.
That's so rare for me, but, the game was dull.
Yeah, it was.
All right, so you had, I don't think I saw, this is how they ranked him at The Athletic. The DoorDash Beef 101 with 50 Cent. I don't think I saw that one. I didn't. Okay.
I didn't.
I watched the whole thing, and I don't think I even remember it.
The Novartis Relax Your Tight End with George Kittle.
That's pretty funny, but just the title.
Raisin Bran, Will Shat.
Nope.
I didn't see
You
that
see that,
one.
Fred?
No.
What?
Maybe, no, I didn't. And I didn't miss one.
Dunkin' Donuts, Goodwill Dunkin'. I saw that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
That was
that.
like
Yeah.
everybody looks weird AI younger selves, right?
It went on for a while.
Liquid Death, Exploding Heads. I saw that one.
Yeah.
They're really that stuff's been out there for a while. They're really marketing the crap out of it. It's like it's really water, isn't it? Water. You can pay like $8
Why
for
would
it.
you do that?
Hellman's Sweet Sandwich Time. I don't think I saw that one.
I saw that one.
You did?
That was okay.
Does
Okay.
that mean the sandwiches were sweet? Like tasting?
I don't know. They were just
I'm confused.
running around squirting on people's
Instacart for
sandwiches.
Papa. So this was Ben Stiller. I thought that was a fun commercial, but I had no idea why it was for Instacart. It just didn't make sense. Jeep, Billy Bass Goes to the River. I didn't see that one either. Man, how did I miss all these?
Did you see the one where they made what's his name from the Food Network, a normal guy?
Yeah.
That was kind of amusing.
Who was
Guy
that?
Fieri.
Guy
State Farm.
Fieri. Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
cute because
No.
you couldn't tell who he was in the beginning.
The State Farm things were
Yeah,
that was
those
pretty
are
good.
good.
It was kind of like, hey, let's find a way. We can't fire the black dude
Right.
from State Farm.
Right.
Let's find a way to bring more people into it
Yes.
and they did. I think they had a lot of fun with that. The Bud Light keg commercial.
I don't think I saw that one.
That one was pretty good. That was with what's his name? They built up to the Bud Light commercials with the comedians. Ethan, who am I thinking about? The one was a
Gillis?
comedian,
Shane Gillis?
Shane Gillis, and then
Bargatze?
no, the
I
artist.
didn't. I don't. Oh, Post Malone.
Yes,
those
Posty.
two have been together in the past.
Yeah,
I missed that one though.
I completely was blanking names. Alexa, Scary Good with Chris Hemsworth. I didn't see that one either. T-Mobile, Tell Me Why. This is just missed. I saw that one. That was with the Backstreet Boys, right? That was okay.
That was cute.
Xfinity Jurassic Park. Didn't see that one.
I didn't see it. Was it? Did you see it, Fred?
That
Was it good?
There's a lot of computer
Yeah, it
AI.
came. That one's quite a few of these came out before the Super Bowl. That was
Right.
one of them.
Mick Ultra, the Ultra Instructor. That was with Kurt Russell. I like that.
That
one.
was
I
pretty
thought that
good.
was
I
pretty
loved that, but I love Kurt Russell.
good. Skittles, Deliver the Rainbow with Elijah Wood. I didn't see that one. Nope. Pringles, Pringle Leo.
That's the one
Yeah.
where Sabrina Carpenter is dating the Pringles man.
Oh,
It was kind of funny.
It was clever.
Yeah.
It was clever.
Uber Eats jogging. I saw that. Like they're doing crazy stuff with Bradley Cooper. There's
And
all
McConaughey
these,
was in
right.
it too, I think.
That was actually pretty funny.
Yeah.
The
best one still has been named.
Yeah, I know.
Really? What was the
Yeah.
best one?
The best one by far.
The
by
Anheuser-Busch
far
one.
was Budweiser's.
Yeah. So
by
why? Okay,
far.
I'm with you, Ethan.
It was in the third quarter.
Okay. I saw that one because we watched it last week, and it is incredible. But you're right. They don't even mention that in here. They don't even
saw
give
it.
that one an honorable mention.
well, I
I
think
think somebody ranked it at like 22nd
It's
best.
ridiculous.
they think it's the same theme that they just do over and over, and that's what I thought. But it's
Well,
a,
it kind of is, but I mean,
but it's still a classic.
The creativity of having the wings of the eagle, I thought was so hilarious as the horses jumping.
Yeah, I get it.
With the farmers getting emotional, I thought it was really good. And Freebird played for the love
I know, right? Yeah, I'm looking at some of the honorable mentions here, and that didn't really.
Ooh.
State Farm, Stop Living on a Prayer.
There were some good PSAs.
That was the one with Danny McBride.
That one was,
I like those.
Keegan Key.
Keegan,
Right?
that was pretty funny.
I liked that one. Haley Seinfeld.
I'm just trying to get down here to the list because I would really be mad if they not even mention that as like a honorable mention because they have them all in here.
Did they have
scrolling a long way?
The Mike Tyson one?
Yeah, there it is, American Icon. So they do put it on there, and then they said the worst. See, I didn't see some of these. Ritz Island for Ritz crackers. You guys see that one?
I did not. Fred?
Don't remember it.
Dave's Hot Chicken. Something's got a hold on me. TurboTax, The Expert. That was the one with Adrian Brody.
Yeah.
I didn't really. I thought it was okay.
How about the Coinbase one? Where it was the karaoke and it was like you were singing the lyrics to
I didn't know what was going on.
What song was it? I'm forgetting off the top of my head.
Can't remember.
But right when it got to the chorus, it said Coinbase. Yeah, I thought that was pretty good.
I thought it was because it got you engaged, and then you had no idea what it was, and then you found
it
out.
was Everybody by the Backstreet Boys. That's what it was. That was what the song was.
Yeah, it does. It gets to the point where, like, since I missed the second half of the game, I didn't really watch any of the commercials. I didn't really care about any of that. But it has become rather anticlimactic because usually, it wasn't too long ago. You go back 10 years and people were buzzing about those ads, and everyone would say, "Oh, that was the best ad." And we'd all sort of agree on that.
We didn't even get a Doritos commercial this year. That's what I was waiting for.
Whatever
That
happened,
one's always good.
So, what they used to do with that, Fred, we used to have some of the winners on. Remember?
Right.
They haven't done this in a while, but so they used to do the contest. Nationwide contest, and people would submit their own commercials, and they'd get to like the top 5. I can't remember what it was, and the winner would actually be aired during the Super Bowl commercial, or during the Super Bowl. But they've gotten away from that. They must decide they have enough of a market share. But that was fun when they did that. It really was
because they realized that none of the commercials are good anymore. That's why they don't put these people.
What's
on.
funny about that is that if you go back and you have to look and see what the timestamp would be when they stopped doing that. I would argue they probably haven't done that since the pandemic, have they? So think about how good some of those commercials were that they shot and how good they could be now just with the technology even 10 years later with the iPhone and everything. So maybe they'll bring that back. All right. We have I'm excited because we have Ben Ferguson on the show. I've had lots of pundits on my show over the years. I don't think I've ever had Ben. Fred, he's going to come on in the next hour. He's going to talk about the Netflix and the Warner Brothers Discovery merger, which is pretty important and certainly will affect your lives. Charles Lipson in the next hour to talk politics. We have Frank Cusumano later this hour on sports. And Brianna Lyman from The Federalist is going to talk a little bit about the Super Bowl and Bad Bunny. But Sue's News is coming up next.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
On the Illinois side, accident eastbound 64 approaching 157 and a jam behind it. Eastbound 44 on the Missouri side, pretty heavy in the construction zone, headed for Jefferson. Southbound 55 slow south of Arsenal down through Bates. Westbound 40 is lining up, and it's mostly approaching Hampton out through McCausland. 70 looks great out of downtown. And out west, it's not that bad, a little slow at Lake St. Louis Boulevard. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
I have some great news if you're looking for a bathroom remodel, even if it's just making a tub-to-shower conversion, because that's something that people want to do, maybe to make spaces safer in your home. Michael's Baths here in St. Louis can handle all of this for you, and they can do it a lot less than the competition when it comes to how much it's going to cost you, but the quality is going to be right there, even better than the competition. Mike Gower has been doing this for decades here in St. Louis, family-run, owned and operated. His daughter, Melody, will take your phone call when you check in for a free estimate. And this is the time to do it, especially if you're looking for a spring or early summer install. Visit michaelsbass.com. If you're interested in financing, they do have 0% interest upon approval. But this is one of those situations where maybe even had some people that came over for the holidays and you were a little embarrassed by what the bathroom looked like. So this is where you get to do something different. They specialize in ADA, accessible showers and tubs, and custom grab bars and seating, all very specific to fit your needs. No gimmicks, no high-pressure sales, just great work here in St. Louis. Michael's Bass, or call 636-775-0800. Again, financing available, including 0% upon approval. Check out michaelsbass.com today.
New tax resolution firms are popping up every day with high-paid celebrity endorsers, advertising ridiculous claims in their TV ads. That's why they have the tiny, unreadable disclaimers at the bottom of the screen. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. Our ads never have those ridiculous, fast-talking, tiny disclaimers at the end because, simply put, there are no guarantees when it comes to the IRS and wiping out tax bills. And we don't make promises we can't keep. Of course, there are ways the Lance Story Law Firm can help resolve your tax debt, but no company can guarantee it will eliminate it. This is why their clients call the Lance Story Law Firm when those promises don't pan out. If you have tax problems, you have legal problems, call me, Lance Story in St. Louis, at 314-260-6120 or visit Lance, D-R-U-R-Y, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hi, it's Mark Cox inviting you to join me September 30th as we discover the charm of Switzerland, Austria, and Germany with Colette Travel. Spend 4 nights in Bern and then 4 nights at the foot of the Alps in Innsbruck. From the cobblestone streets to the postcard-worthy mountain landscapes of the amazing Alps, we're going to explore the Swiss capital of Bern and lovely Lucerne, the Swiss paradise on the lake. We'll travel the Austrian countryside to Salzburg with a visit to Mozart's birthplace, and then Mirabelle Gardens featured in The Sound of Music. This and so much more. Colette handles all the details. The flights, the meals, the hotels, the local experiences. All you have to do is have the time of your life. Don't miss this trip. Meet me and the folks from Colette to learn more at the Lodge at De Pere, Tuesday, February 24th at 2 p.m. Call Colette at 800-581-8942 or go to 971talk.com/events for details.
The NFL playoffs are here, and Heed the Call NFL podcast with Dan Hansis and Mark Sessler is your destination for coverage of every round, from Wild Card Weekend to Super Bowl Sunday.
Heed the Call covers every game, every storyline, everything that matters, and we have fun. No fake hot takes, just entertaining football talk from your favorite buds at the bar.
Wait, Mark, which bar?
Well, like the typical neighborhood bar where the witty sports guys at a place like that.
Ah, I like that. Follow and listen to Heed the Call wherever you get your podcasts.
The Mark Reardon Show is St. Louis conservative.
Okay, I have to make one humbling admission here this afternoon. Jim Brennan from McKelvey Homes, who's a great sponsor of this show. I played pickleball with him over the weekend with my friend Jeff Drew. Now, there was a guy by the name of Dave Mill who was supposed to show up, and he just blew us off completely. He complained that he had like a toe injury. Big wussy, Dave Mill. If you know him, tell me he's a big wussy. Like, tell him to watch the Miracle doc on Netflix because, you know, he'd go in that locker room and the coach would yell at him. Herb Brooks will say, you should be out on the ice. You should be in that pickleball court or you're going to remember this the rest of your life. Anyway, because of that, we were down a player. We got someone to play with us at Bedell and Pickle, which was nice. But then that guy was tired because he had already played like 90 minutes, right? So Jim Brennan says, I'll take on both you guys, you and Jeff Drew. So it's a 2-against-1 situation. He beat us twice.
Oh.
Twice.
Oh, my goodness.
Not only that, but look, I don't usually like to get into names, but Jim Brennan is 74 years old. Now, he looks like 84. He really does. But he plays – I had to get that in there. This is what pissed me off. He couldn't get a smile wiped off his face. Like,
that
we're losing.
is
And
hilarious.
he kept smiling and smiling. So we'll pay him back, but I have to give him props where props are due. Good job, Jim. And Dave, what a wussy. I cannot believe that. Here, let's do this here.
Allegations are deeply concerning.
Does the president have any comment?
We're not going to comment.
It's not clear messaging.
No.
And now, Sue's News. Brought to you by Sue.
Hang on. I got to make sure my watch so I know what time. Okay.
Yeah, we have 3 or 4 clocks in here.
Is there
None
any
of them
of them that
accurate.
are correct?
No.
It's the year 1200 on the one behind you in 42 seconds. Okay. All right, that's great. On this day in history, well, let me start with this. First of all, it's National Pizza Day, which sounds really delicious to me. I'm in the mood for that.
You know what? I think I might have just made an executive call based on that. Yeah.
It's better than the next one, which is National Bagel and Lox Day. I have no problem with that, but it doesn't sound as good as pizza. 84 years ago today, in 1942, Congress implemented daylight saving time to conserve fuel during World War II. Now, it lasted about 3.5 years. It was another 2 decades after that they brought it back.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I didn't know there was a gap.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they brought it back, but they did.
And we're still arguing about it.
And we are still arguing about it. And then this has I'll introduce it first. 62 years ago, In 1964, the Beatles appeared on Ed Sullivan and earned $2,400. The show was watched by 73 million people.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles.
Wait, you said that they were paid for that?
Yeah, $2,400.
That doesn't seem that bad for back then, I would say. But I didn't know it was standard practice for bands to get paid like when they went on late night shows. Maybe back then it was.
I don't know. Maybe it was just, what am I trying to say, scale.
Yeah, it could have been.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right, no, but that's pretty good. But yeah, that was a big night.
Huge thing. Now, there were over 50,000 requests made to be in the audience that night for 728 seats.
Wow.
I mean, people, well, you heard the screaming. But, yeah, it was such a huge deal. And you can watch it now. It's just, 62 years ago, and it looks like it's 80 years ago. All right, I thought we'd talk a little bit about this. The Super Bowl name was coined by Lamar Hunt Sr. We're focusing on this because the game was so boring. Who founded the American Football League, the AFL, in 1959. The Super Bowl was created as a result of the merger between the NFL and the AFL. How did he come up with the name Super Bowl? Well, somebody found a letter to the NFL commissioner at the time. Is it Pete Rozelle?
Yeah.
Well, Lamar Hunter said,
it.
I have kiddingly called it a Super Bowl, which obviously can be approved upon. But no one came up with anything that was better. He added the name was likely in his head because his kids had been playing with the Super Bowl, which was popular then. And he just thought of it that way. He says it's a little corny, kind of silly, but it looks like we're stuck with it. I'm not really proud of it, but nobody has come up with anything better. It wasn't officially called Super Bowl until Super Bowl III in 1969. Other proposed names included World Series of Football, because we only got one track there.
I like that. That one should have gone away.
Ultimate Bowl and Premier Bowl.
I think we picked correctly.
Okay. Fred is the only one. Yeah, I agree. Fred's the only one who made it through the whole game. Was it worth it, Fred?
No.
Did you really? You made it through the whole game?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
wow.
Well, I wanted to see all the ads.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the scoring picked up a little bit near the end.
Good for you.
I mean, there was some action.
Okay. Well, somebody scored a touchdown, which was something.
Yeah.
It hadn't happened by the time I bailed.
Me neither.
I have also been enjoying watching the Olympics. Fred, are you in?
Oh, yeah. Very
Mark,
much so.
what have you enjoyed
I watched
so
a lot of
far?
skiing. I watched some of the ice dancing over the weekend. I didn't get to catch curling, and I mean, we got a mixed curling pair that's going for the gold. Americans in the mixed, it's a man and a woman, and they made it to the medal round, so they're going for the gold. So I'm excited about that. But I watched a fair amount of it over the weekend.
Did you see Breezy Johnson?
I didn't.
Oh my gosh, it's so cool! You got to go back and watch it. Okay,
And did you see the crash?
Oh,
Lindsey Vonn.
unfortunately,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
did.
No, she's done,
Unfortunately.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
broke her leg, and they had the helicopter. The setting for this skiing, especially the women's, gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Well, Breezy Johnson won the first gold medal for Team USA, and shortly after that, she stood atop the medal ceremony, and she accidentally ripped the medal from the ribbon. Here's what she said about it. We have the sound.
Here we go. I didn't know that happened. Here.
Don't jump in them. I was jumping in excitement and it broke. So there's the medal, and there's the ribbon, and here's the little piece that is supposed to go in the ribbon to hold it in the medal. And yeah, it came apart. I'm sure somebody will fix it. It's not like crazy broken, but a little broken.
I don't even know who Breezy Johnson really is, but I love her just from hearing that. Yeah, that was awesome.
She's totally adorable.
So wait, she won the gold in what?
Downhill, women's downhill.
Yeah, all right, that's right.
Yeah, that's the one. You have to watch that. You will really enjoy it. Okay, I just looked at the clock and it said 1.20839, which didn't help me. Okay, now
4:26 right now.
I'm going to give an earworm to us all, so don't hate me for this. But parents are wondering why kids are saying that chicken banana lately. It all comes from a viral song called Chicken Banana that has around 170 million views. Here's just a little clip.
Chicken banana, chicken banana. Chicken, banana, banana, banana.
And that's all it does, huh?
That's all it does.
I'm actually shocked that I have not been introduced to this
Thank
by
you.
my daughter.
I thought that maybe you would have known what this was.
I wonder if I can flip this around on her and introduce her to something that she's not heard, right?
Yeah.
Especially
I might
when
try
she's
that.
so sick.
Yeah, she's
That'll
under the
help.
weather today, so we'll see. Maybe that'll put her in a better mood. I'm going to write myself a note to do chicken banana.
Download that. Chicken
Yeah,
banana her.
I like that.
Random stuff here. I do have more Super Bowl. Do you want more Super Bowl?
Sure.
All right. The Superstar Super Bowl halftime show we've been talking about. Well, it's a lot more modern than you probably realize. The first major headliner was New Kids on the Block in 1991 at Super Bowl 25. 2 years later, it was Michael Jackson, and of course, he became the first to turn it into a spectacle. But before that, it was mostly marching bands with the occasional special guest. Do you remember that when we were kids? I do.
I kind of like seem to remember Up with People or something.
Oh, yeah,
like
I'm
that.
sure that happened, including a few celebrities. So it would be like marching bands, and then Carol Channing singing When the Saints Go Marching In. That's what they had in 1970.
Wow.
Like vaguely remember stuff like that.
Yeah, they've just really kind of upped the whole thing to what it is now. So this is not a common thing. All right, I'm going to go off Super Bowl topic to tell you this. We have a new study out. They do it at the end of the year to talk about what weird things people have in their car. 33% say they have random clothing in their car. Fred, do you have random clothing?
I do not.
Neither do I. Mark, don't you have a clean car?
But I have random clothing from my daughter because she takes sweatshirts off, and there's a hoodie in the back seat right now from her.
Okay, well then that's a whole different
Sometimes
deal.
a sock or two also.
I have a gallon bag full of K-cups of French vanilla coffee because I don't like it. I'm bringing it into work.
Dump it onto Joyce?
Yeah, I'm going to bring it into work.
Okay, well, that's fair. And, I want to talk about the strange things, but I'm running out of time, and I have to look at my watch
30
every
seconds,
2 seconds.
25 seconds.
Okay. Finally, in Sue's news, we have today's random fact.
Or
French's American mustard was owned by a British company for 90 years. Until 2017, when McCormick and Company acquired it and brought it back to America. And we had invented it here in 1904. And that's at Chicken Banana.
I'm Dan Loney with Your Money Now. Wall Street posted gains across the board today. The Dow Industrials up 20 points, setting another record close at 50,136. NASDAQ was up 207 points. S&P 500 up by 32, finishing just 14 points short of a record close. A bill focused on housing affordability is set to advance in the House of Representatives. The bill would give builders and local governments incentives to boost construction by reducing regulation in the home building sector. A different version was passed in the Senate late last year, so some work on a final version still has to occur. The hope is that this could become law before the end of the year. Happy Hour is coming to Chipotle, or maybe it'll be Happier Hour. The fast casual chain is going to try and roll out some sort of an offering to bring more customers in. CEO Scott Boatwright told Yahoo Finance that it'll be less than $10 for a meal and a drink. What kind of drink? We don't know. That's Your Money Now.
Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. All your roles, fill them sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free, and you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Ooh, I couldn't hit that high note. If you're looking for a family practice attorney, I certainly can steer you in the proper direction. That's Susan L. Ward with the law offices of stlfamilylaw.com. If you go to her website, which is great, you can click on the About tab, and Susan actually offers some really great advice on that website about selecting the right attorney. And they point out that most people wait until the last minute. I did this. I can raise my hand 2 decades ago before selecting or consulting with a lawyer. And procrastination is not going to be something that's going to really result in anything positive. So slowly responding is going to prevent you from getting benefits that are available. And look, I get it. And Susan gets it. It's overwhelming. And it's easy to be in denial or to worry about the financial impact of consulting a lawyer. But then you have bigger impacts if you don't do that. So they have a great team here in St. Louis with a beautiful office in De Pere at Manchester and 270. The website, as I indicated, really has all kinds of information, including a confidential consultation form. Get with Susan as soon as you think you need her help. STLFamilyLaw.com, 314-783-9400.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
4:33. This portion of the show is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Fox News National, St. Louis Local, 97.1 FM Talk.
I know you do, Sue. I don't really do podcasts that much, and there's no reason except for I don't really listen to other talk shows either. So it's just something I don't do. I don't like to be influenced. But do you ever listen to Adam Carolla's? I know you do Rogan every once in a while.
Yeah.
So I like Adam Carolla, and I mainly hear clips, but I've always focused on a lot of Bill Maher cuts just because I think Bill is a common sense guy, and he really is. And I think he's certainly shown that in the last couple of years. He's not a conservative. Okay, he has a lot of problems with things that Trump will do, and he doesn't like the behavior, although he'll admit. And I think maybe I saw him do this last week. It could have been on with a different podcast. But he says, look, you meet Trump in person, and he's pretty charming. And, he's not the evil Nazi that people make him out to be. But once you decide that you can't stand him, he is a Nazi, you can't veer away from that. And he criticizes the left for that quite a bit. And he's been very consistent in his criticism of that. So he goes on with Carolla, and he talked about, and a lot of this, this is preaching to the choir here on this radio station with our audience. But for those of you, and I know we have some people who are more moderate or lefties who are listening right now, and I think those who are listening probably know this. We're speaking to you, and you're aware, if you're a common sense Democrat, that the left is rather exclusionary in many instances.
It's so hard to not be on one of the extremes. Yes. To not have a team. It just really sucks, and especially in this town where everyone's on one team, and it's not. As I always say to my woke friends, we voted for the same person. You're just why she lost. Right. And they do not like that. Right. They are very exclusionary. Yes. They really just don't want to breathe the same air if you're not exactly with the groupthink. Yes, which is while they're not that bright.
I know, and it's counterintuitive to me, because I always feel like you should be looking for things you agree on, not looking for things you disagree on. And it just makes life so much easier and so much better. And it's almost like saying, we'd like to go out to dinner. Let's not try to figure out what food you hate and I love. Let's try to figure out the food we both love, and let's go enjoy ourselves.
So he says, and I was unaware of this, he brings up the fact that he thinks Jimmy Kimmel's kind of pissed at him. You ready? Ready for this?
And Jimmy Kimmel, he's very mad at me, and I know you're close to him. I've heard I hope you tell him that, I'm sorry that, they got bent out of shape. I don't think I did anything wrong. we can have disagreements.
I agree.
I mean, you and I don't agree on everything. Look at this clash now. And yet we're cool. Like the Republicans are always, this is the difference between the right and the left. It bugs me so much.
This is important right here, what he says.
My tribe is supposed to be the left, but these are the people who just can't talk to you unless you're exactly there. Whereas the Republicans, they always fucking come to my show. John Kennedy from Louisiana was on last week, took his beating like a man, like they all do, and we came across lovingly and smilingly and happily, and we can disagree.
I agree.
You and I aren't always completely on the same page, although we're very close because we're both smart guys.
Can't do that, though, with a lot of people. Look,
No,
I've told you
that's
I've
well
lost
put.
friends that, won't even speak with me anymore. I look at Facebook and how toxic it is, and it's so funny. I mentioned this earlier. Basically, social media today is people who like the show. Most people who didn't like the show are indifferent. I think it was terrible. It was fine. I don't really care. I would have liked to have understood what he was saying. But what the left-wingers are doing out there is they're mocking the Republicans for not liking Bad Bunny, and they're virtue signaling, even though they didn't know anything about this guy anyway. And it's just important for them as people who have Trump derangement syndrome to post how much they love Bad Bunny. Oh, I love, and I'm telling you, this is my favorite one. This is someone who is a prominent sports columnist in St. Louis. His wife proclaimed, "I just want to learn Spanish now. It was hot." Like, all your life you had the chance to learn Spanish, but that was what inspired you because Bad Bunny was jumping around stage. This is still my favorite here. People have way too much time on their hands, but they loop together all the eyes. Hey, Brianna Lyman wrote about this in the Federalist about the Super Bowl halftime show. It was basically the NFL giving the fans like me a big middle finger. How are you, Brianna? Welcome to the show this afternoon.
Thanks so much for having me.
You certainly have seen a lot of the virtue signaling, I'm sure, from the left today about Bad Bunny. I mean, they can't help themselves. They have to declare it the best Super Bowl halftime show of all time. How much you want to bet that about 89% of those people last year declared Kendrick Lamar the best Super Bowl halftime show of all time, right?
Yeah, their standards are just constantly moving the goalposts of whoever is this performer is the best performer.
So your thoughts on this? I had problems from the beginning of picking, and I know how big he is globally, but I didn't think it was too much to ask just to have someone in English language. We've had, people from England, Australia, other rock acts from across the planet who have participated, even some from, Southern America. But this one, and I guess you got to dig deep to understand all of his, hidden messages. This one, because it was just in, Spanish, I think set people off in the wrong way to begin with when this was announced.
Yeah, and remember, back in October, Bad Bunny was doing an interview, and he said, if you can't speak Spanish, you have 4 months to learn. So right off the bat, he set the standard that he wasn't going to try and adapt to America's favorite pastime, football and the Super Bowl, and said Americans would have to adapt to him, right? So that was the first problem. And then what people fail to forget is football is not an international sport, right? This isn't like it's soccer where if he was performing in Spanish, you'd be like, all right, well, majority of the soccer fans around the world speak Spanish. This makes sense. Football is inherently and distinctly American. It was created right here in the 1880s by Walter Camp. It is the cornerstone of our culture. And so the fact that it was a halftime show was performed in Spanish, that it was elevating a culture and in a nation that is not ours, Puerto Rico, they may be American citizens on paper, but they have their own distinct culture that they are more than welcome to celebrate during their own cultural pastimes, but not ours. This is supposed to elevate American culture. And Bad Bunny chose to do the opposite because he wanted to send a political message. And it was very clear what that message was.
Yeah, well, again, I think you got to dig into it a little bit. There's no doubt that he was making, some, I don't know what you would call it, just analogies, et cetera. They even had some sort of reference to the 5-year-old kid, and people thought it was the actual 5-year-old kid, but it wasn't, right?
Yeah, actually, that one's a little more hazy. Apparently, he was trying to give his younger 5-year-old self a Grammy to show, look how far you've come. But even so, put that one aside, there were a ton of other references. His song in Spanish basically saying that the United States is a colonizer of Hawaii, hinting that Puerto Rico wants its independence. Look, I agree. Give Puerto Rico its independence. Take them off our tax dollar. We're tired of funding the bill for them, too. But the other messages he had, think about his love is stronger than hate. He was trying to frame any opposition to anti-ICE agitators as being hateful, right? He was trying to send that kind of message by saying that, God bless America. He wasn't being patriotic. There are so many conservative influencers out there today saying, I don't like Bad Bunny, but at least he's patriotic. God Bless America is not something you can separate from the song God Bless America, which is distinctly about the United States of America during the World Wars, right? And when he used God Bless America, he was saying God bless every country in North and South America.
Right. Yeah, and for those people who didn't, there's no doubt about that. Here, just a sample.
God bless America. Sea Chile, Argentina, Uruguay, Paraguay.
And Brianna, to your point, then he finally gets down to the United States of America and Canada at the end of that rant. But, I think you kind of summed up in the column this way. You have a situation right now where foreign culture is being elevated during a very traditional American experience at the very same time that we're being told that we have no right to enforce our own laws, defend our sovereignty. So this is what we have to watch. And I've just come to laugh about it simply because I'm the idiot that still watches games. I love the NFL. This seems to happen on a regular basis. I will say it was kind of unique to get a white dude to sing the national anthem, and I thought Charlie Puth did a very good job. And I've got nothing against Bad Bunny. I actually really kept an open mind because I had listened to some of the music, and I knew that there were horns, and I thought there was an opportunity for really a fun time. But I didn't get it. And, to me, it was very average. I guess if you hate Trump and you want to hear the cultural messages, you loved a lot more than that. But, man, I just wish the Super Bowl could get back to. You could still have foreign artists, by the way, doing some sort of performance up there like they did a few years ago with the hip hop artists, but this one didn't work for me.
No, and it was a humiliation ritual for precisely what you just laid out, right? Americans right now are in a societal divide, a political divide over immigration. Half the country wants to enforce duly enacted immigration laws. The other half of the country doesn't, and so they are firebombing ICE places. They are impeding law enforcement. You have activist judges saying that, nope, we got to bring back an illegal alien because he's just a Maryland father, right? So you have everything working against you. And we saw that kind of culminate on Sunday in this halftime show because Bad Bunny was basically saying, screw you, screw your sovereignty. Everyone's America, everyone's American. You don't get to claim that. And that was humiliating. This is our cultural pastime. And I got to be honest, I don't think any foreign artist should perform during these things when this is America's cultural pastime. We should be elevating American artists. We should be elevating American culture. We should be celebrating American culture, especially in America 250. You would think that the NFL would have said, we are in the 250th year of America. Let's celebrate that during the Super Bowl halftime show. And instead, they had someone who's basically for open borders and globalist ideology up there.
Yeah, look, there's so many opportunities. Look, I guess we'll never have a country artist that will be invited back again, is my guess. There's a lot of options, but I think it's going to always be political messaging here from now until the end of time. Brianna, awesome column. I'm glad to have you on. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
We'll talk about the game itself and some of the other things sports-related with Frank Cusumano coming up next.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, some good news. They cleared an accident northbound 141 past 21. We do have a stall northbound 270 past Dorset, but it's on the right shoulder. There was a stall too westbound 70 near Cary. It's just that kind of afternoon. For the most part, I'll tell you where the heaviest traffic is. Westbound 6440 headed for Kings Highway on out through Big Bend. Eastbound 44 headed for Grand, and southbound 55 as you head on down toward Bates. We have an accident reported now eastbound on the Poplar Street Bridge, really close to Route 3, and traffic is starting to stack up there as well. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. Fish Fry Fridays are here again, and you know what that means. Join us for our Fish Fry Friday kickoff at Fish Fest. The crew will be live February 20th at Holy Trinity Serbian Orthodox Church. See the menu and learn more at 971talk.com/events.
Triton Exteriors, St. Louis Roofing, Siding, and Gutter Systems. We'll take care of you and your home. We're #1 in the Ladue, Kirkwood, and Webster area. James Hardy certified. Visit Triton.stl.com to be connected with a James Hardy expert and receive a free estimate. Triton-stl.com or call 314-717-1159. That's 314-717-1159. Triton Exteriors, St. Louis #1 James Hardy specialists.
The team at Ricken Financial want to help you make educated and informed decisions about your retirement strategies.
Why not rely on individuals who can optimize your thinking and optimize your plan and optimize all the resources and show you what's all available to be able to make a truly informed decision?
Call Ricken Financial today, 314-207-6211, or online at rickenfinancial.com, and join us for Kickin' with the Rickens, Sunday at 1 p.m. here on 97.1 FM Talk.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's best eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Mark Reardon, Sue Thomas. This is The Mark Reardon Show.
I'm really excited to have Ben Ferguson on the show in the next hour. I haven't had him on before. He's a great pundit, and he's going to talk about a situation that I really haven't touched on that much. I wanted to do it last week, which is the Netflix-Warner Brothers Discovery merger. There's a couple of different options there. I think it's important to get this thing done, and Ben thinks it is too, for very American reasons, for jobs, and also some different things that I think you'll relate to. So he's coming up at 5:30. Our friend Charles Lipson after 5 o'clock. Right now, post-Super Bowl, Frank Cusumano with us. An exciting night. You didn't even have a show last night because of football and the Olympics. How are you, Frank?
Very good. Doing well. Hope you're doing well, sir.
So the game sucked. Do we need to say more about it? It was just so boring, and congratulations to the Seahawks and everything. And Sam Darnold, Ethan's sitting in here very painful because his guy at Minnesota wins a Super Bowl ring.
Bringing that up, don't you?
But, man, defense did matter last night, Frank, didn't it?
It really did. And, yeah, you got to be happy with Sam Darnold when he's on his fifth team. 4 different organizations said, you're not good enough. And there he is making no turnovers. Not playing great, but playing good enough. He had a terrific season. I don't know how you felt, Mark, but there was a part of me that, like, when it was 19-0, let's embarrass the Patriots. Let's make this as humiliating as possible. And then when they threw the touchdown pass to me in 19-7, I thought to myself, well, actually I wouldn't mind seeing a game. But we didn't see a game because the Patriots' offense was absolutely pathetic. And, look, everybody used to say, like, when Dan Marino went in his second year to the Super Bowl, oh, Dan Marino's going back. Well, let me tell you something. As much as I like Drake May, he's got to beat out Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen and Joe Burrow to get back. Who knows if he'll ever get back to a Super Bowl?
That's right. I heard some discussion of that yesterday. Look, Aaron Rodgers never got back to a Super Bowl, so at least I don't think he did. He only won one.
Mm-hmm.
Might be mistaken on that.
But he went to 2, but he only won one. You're correct.
Right. So on the Olympic front, that was pretty exciting over the weekend. Obviously, we lost Lindsey Vonn to injury. It was a gutsy move on her part just to even try to compete, and she's probably in a lot of pain right now. We had some great American stories. One thing I was thinking about, because we've all followed the Olympics, Sue, you know this from when we were kids, there was always that story or those stories that we kind of wanted to latch onto. I know that they're trying to develop those at NBC, but it's tougher to root for Olympians because we just don't know their stories, because it's the same thing with everything else. There's so much content out there. It's kind of hard to recognize the best in the sport here because they don't get a lot of attention outside of the Olympics.
Yeah, as it evolves, I think, some of us in St. Louis got to see that figure skater, that Ilya Melanin, who is just insane. I mean, he is Simone Biles of the men's figure skating world. And he's just – I've never seen anybody like him. So he'll become a household name because he'll come back with, at least 3 gold medals. And then I think the Kachuk boys, if the United States could pull it off – and granted, they already have some fame, but that's, I think, the most intriguing thing would be the United States beating Canada at the Olympics.
So SLU's up to what? Ranked 18th nationally?
18th, they moved up 1 spot, although St. John's leapt ahead of them because they beat UConn. But I'd say, Mark, on Saturday it was really unbelievable because they were struggling a little bit. It was a 6-point game, and then wham. It's that Clark Kellogg spurt ability phrase. They hit 3 3-pointers in a span of 55 seconds, and just like that, they were up 15. And then the next 2 trips down, they hit 3-pointers. They hit 5 3-pointers in a row. It's absolutely insane the way they can score, in certain stretches.
So you have a great story developing. We hope they can go to the NCAA tournament, make some noise. But whenever you have something like this happen, you got a guy in Josh Scherz that's going to be looked at for other jobs. I think I saw a tweet on yours earlier this afternoon on that front, right? He's going to get a lot of looks because of this success.
Well, he will. And my contention is this. Unless it's a blue blood like Kansas, and they're doing well, Kentucky has made a comeback, and Kansas, if Bill Self stays healthy, he's not leaving for Providence. I mean, he's just not. So he's got everything he wants here in terms of a lot of really, really wealthy guys helping him buy players, bring in players, and win a lot of games. And I think he just loves the city. He likes living in a big city where there's a lot of good restaurants. Yeah, I think he could be here for a long time.
By the way, that was a pretty good road win for Mizzou over the weekend at South Carolina. You needed that, I think.
It was. And I'll say this. If they can just find a way to, like, hold serve at home and, you win that road game, you got a great chance. I mean, you still have a good chance. Right now, you're like first four in or first four out, but that's a nice victory. And as Jaden Stone and Mitchell are playing extremely well, T.O. Barrett. So it'd be cool to see the Billikens get in there. And, of course, Illinois, who has a chance to be a 1 or a 2 seed.
And I think they can win it all. I really do. Pitchers and catchers report to spring training. Should we talk about that, or should we not talk about that? I can't remember a time when we're entering a season like this. I know we've had some question marks the past few seasons, but we've also had young talent in our system that we were very excited about, like Jordan Walker, who, really have never met expectations.
Yeah, I think the most interesting thing is going to be what Jordan Walker and Nolan Gorman look like. I mean, J.J. Weatherholt, it's unbelievable because he hasn't even played a game, in the major leagues, and we're all assuming, he's going to be fine. The two we're worried about, who are the two guys who've been here for 3 years, because if they fail, if you get nothing out of your right fielder and nothing out of your third baseman, two former first-round picks, it just puts you in a deep hole. They have to make a stride.
So are you heading down soon, or are you not planning on going down this year?
I will go down in about 3 or 4 weeks for about 2 or 3 days. But here's the one interesting thing I think the fans are going to love is this whole new spring training complex. They've been working on it for a long time. Cardinals were, they were way behind the gun in terms of facilities for spring training. Not anymore. I hear it's just beautiful.
Hey, we're also going to have the pitch challenges now, right?
The ABS.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah,
I know.
Yep.
I think that there's some, positivity to that, just because you have limited amount of challenges, et cetera. So I think it'll be good.
And
all right,
they
Frank.
can do it in a quick fashion, Mark. That's the big thing. I don't want it to slow down the game.
Well, and that's what happens in college basketball at the end of these games. It's so funny. You see these teams, they have no timeouts left, and then they go to the monitor so many times, you get like 3 or 4 extra timeouts. You don't need timeouts.
It was also supposed to be the idea of the getting rid of the chain gangs in football. They're going to have the instant review, and it was kind of a disaster from what I saw this year. It didn't work very well, and it just took way longer than I think they expected it to.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to be the case with the ABS.
I'm looking forward to it. We'll see what happens. All right, Frank, have a great week. We'll talk on Friday.
Okay, guys, take care.
On the other side of Fox News here, coming up at 5 o'clock, our friend Charles Lipson, professor emeritus at the University of Chicago. He writes at charleslipson.com. I have a fair amount of audio that I have not gotten to. We had a video that was released again by Savannah Guthrie right before we hit the air. It was very personal. It was a little bit more to all of us and not necessarily to potential kidnappers, but they're still very desperate, and there's been no movement or developments in the Nancy Guthrie disappearance. Ben Ferguson is going to join us at 5:32. He's a nationally syndicated radio host and author, and he has some opinions about the proposed Netflix Warner Brothers Discovery merger, invoking the name of Ronald Reagan in that particular instance. And Ben will explain at 5:30, plus an audio cut of the day and more.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We've got the usual jam on westbound 64. It lines up just past Kings Highway out through McCausland and out west between Highway N and 70. 70 westbound, moderate volume, Jennings Station Road. We've got eastbound 44 jammed, headed for Jefferson. That's mainly due to road work. 55 slowing, approaching Bates. On the Illinois side, we had an accident eastbound on the Poplar Street Bridge earlier, and now it's just moderate volume through there, but still a jam eastbound 64 due to an accident east of 157. Yep. That's right. Hold on. What time is it? Okay. This report brought to you by Barron Mirror Glass and Door. They have the largest, most beautiful showroom in all of St. Louis. It's full of the latest, most custom designs. Located in Chesterfield Valley, there you'll see why they say creativity unlimited, quality unsurpassed. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's Traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Sue had to check the time because we have multiple clocks in the studio, but there's only one that's operating correctly. And I can't even begin to explain to you why that is, but it is the case. I want to talk about the doctors at Ophthalmology Associates. You know, if 250 doctors go and see the team at Ophthalmology Associates, then you may want to consider it as well. It may be something simple with allergies or dry eye. They can give you some drops for that. But eye exams are a very important way to catch other eye issues, and I'm speaking from experience. So this goes back a few decades, but I had an eye disease when I was very young. Had to have surgery to make sure that my retina is in place on my right eye. And I have a little silicone buckle that's around that eye. I only wear one contact, but I get my eyes checked on a regular basis, and I'm very sensitive to any changes in my eye health because of the experience that I had many decades ago. The good news is, you know, I should really kind of find this out. I had that surgery, and I think it was like a 6 or 7 hour procedure. I bet now it would only be, you know, an hour or a couple hours because technology has come so far. But protect your sight. Make an appointment today at Ophthalmology Associates. It's easy to do. Call 314-966-5000. Their website is great. YourEyeDoc.com. Ophthalmology Associates. Tell them that I sent you over.
Being first in line can be very important to homeowners. First in line for the plumber, first in line for the HVAC guy, first in line for Banner Construction. It's Banner Construction's winter home event, and you can be first in line this spring and save before the annual price increases. Banner Construction is a James Hardy and Pella window replacement specialist, and now is the best time to schedule a free in-home consultation with no obligation. Call 314-569-1050 or see them online and have a banner day.
Public schools, like public libraries, should be free and open to all. Open enrollment allows parents to choose the school that's the best fit for their children. Maybe another school has a wider curriculum, is bigger or smaller. Maybe a kid is being bullied and would be more comfortable at another school. 75% of parents favor open enrollment. Open enrollment programs now exist in 43 states, and Missouri should join them. Our next-door neighbor, Kansas, has one of the strongest open enrollment policies in the nation. Kansas parents are trusted with choices and options, while Missouri parents must move out of their home to change public schools. And it's a trend. Nationwide, the percentage of students going to their chosen public school has steadily increased. Assigning kids to schools based on their zip code is the old way. Open enrollment is a better way. Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Mark Cox here. It is the month of love for my friends at Zero Res. Not only is your carpet one of the biggest investments in your home, it's also the biggest air filter in your home. If your carpet hasn't been professionally cleaned, you're breathing unhealthy levels of nasty dirt, dander, bacteria, and germs that keep recirculating again and again. Lucky for you, right now, you can get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $119 and take $75 off your air duct cleaning. Book online at ZeroResSTL.com and say you want the KFTK special.
Dreaming of college but worried about the cost? The Together Foundation is here to help. The Together Foundation is awarding 5 $1,500 scholarships to St. Louis area students who are ready to take the next step toward their future. Applying is simple, but time is limited, as applications will be accepted through March 31st. Learn more or apply at togethercu.org/scholarship. That's togethercu.org/scholarship. This community message has been brought to you by Together Credit Union.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
All right, we got Charles Lipson on the other side of Fox News. We'll talk a little politics with him. Ben Ferguson is going to join me at 5:32. I don't even think I've ever had him on the show. It's going to be fun. That's coming up about a half an hour.
Their hour of desperation. I'm Daria Albinger, Fox News. Savannah Guthrie's mother, Nancy, has now been missing for 9 days. The Today Show co-host posting a new video. Fox's Jonathan Hunt in Tucson.
This new message is not addressed to the kidnapper or kidnappers. It is addressed to the general public. In it, Savannah Guthrie thanks everybody for their prayers. She says, we are in an hour of desperation. She said that we, the Guthrie siblings, believe our mother is still out there. She hears your prayers, Savannah says, and she says, we all need your help. She is out there somewhere, but it certainly sounds from the tone of that message that the investigation is at something of a dead end at this point, because Savannah Guthrie's tone in this is absolutely desperate, saying that law enforcement are working as hard as they can, but they need the public's help.
Officials say there are currently no suspects or persons of interest. Ghislaine Maxwell took the fifth at a House Oversight Committee deposition today. Arizona Republican Andy Biggs says her lawyer did, however, offer some information about President Trump and former President Clinton's connections to her former companion, the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
The attorney for Ms. Maxwell said that she has no indication and would say that neither Presidents Trump or Clinton are culpable for any wrongdoing.
Maxwell has dangled the offer of information in exchange for a pardon. There's been another school shooting, this time in suburban Washington, D.C. Police dispatched to a high school in Montgomery County, Maryland. A student with a gunshot wound is now hospitalized in stable condition. The suspect, also a student, was arrested a short time later near the school. America's listening to Fox News.
Hear that? That's Mike. He took ZzzQuil Pure Z's, so now he's sleeping soundly on a Sunday night. ZzzQuil Pure Z's are fast-acting melatonin gummies with a complementary botanical blend to help Mike get the sleep he needs to wake up refreshed and ready to conquer Monday. Let's do this, Monday. ZzzQuil Pure Z's, just for sleep. Really great sleep. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks Vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors when you need more comfort for yourself. Use as directed.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
No weather concerns at all this evening or overnight. Clear skies, and we should dip down to about 42 degrees. We can handle that. On Tuesday, pretty nice day. Partly sunny skies, 62 for the high in the afternoon. Tuesday night, some clouds, maybe a spot shower, but really tough to find, 35. Wednesday, sunny skies and 50. Thursday, clouds and 47. A real solid shot of rain Saturday and Saturday night. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
All right, welcome back. Hour number 3. Still a lot to get to, including Ben Ferguson at the bottom of the hour. I have an audio cut of the day as well. I have Kid Rock tickets to give away, too. He is coming to Hollywood Casino Amphitheater on May 15th. I have tickets to give away via our friends at Live Nation all week. You know, it's funny. I've seen Kid Rock 3 times in concert. The first time, I've told this story before, when I was in Milwaukee, it's a real big deal because they are the home of Harley Davidson. So I was there for the 95th. I might have been for the 90th, the 95th, and the 100th, but at least the 95th and the 100th Harley anniversary. Huge parties. And they always have concerts. So they have concerts down at the lakefront for the celebration. It really is an incredible party. A lot of people listening right now might have gone to one of those. But Kid Rock was one of the entertainers, and I wasn't really into Kid Rock. Nothing against him, right. Just the music. I thought maybe lesser of him just because of his Kid Rock shtick. Well, he was so freaking entertaining when I saw him in that show. Then when he came back to Summerfest in Milwaukee, I bought tickets because he was so good. And then I saw him one time here. So he, no matter what you might think of Kid Rock, he is really a great entertainer, first and foremost. and he gets it. So it's going to be a fun show, and I have tickets to give away a little later this hour. Just keep listening, and I will tell you what caller to have. So this has kind of made the rounds here over the weekend. It's not new audio, but it certainly represents something when it comes to Kamala Harris on the topic of voter ID. We're talking about the SAVE Act now. We're talking about requiring people to show who they are before they vote. I feel like I've been talking about that for 30 years, mainly because I've been talking about it for 30 years, but we're still talking about it.
Is agreeing to voter ID one of those compromises that you'd support?
I don't think that we should underestimate what that could mean. Because in some people's mind, that means, well, you're going to have to Xerox or photocopy your ID to send it in to prove who you are.
Huh?
Well, there are a whole lot of people, especially people who live in rural communities, who don't. There's no Kinko's, there's no Office Max near them.
Yeah, it's the rural communities. That's where people don't have, the farmers don't have IDs.
People have to understand that when we're talking about voter ID laws, be clear about who you have in mind and what would be required of them to prove who they are. Of course, people have to prove who they are, but not in a way that makes it almost impossible for them to prove who they are.
I mean, she was almost president, people. Oh, my God. Here's Eric Schmidt. Why do you need an ID? Why did Dems oppose it?
There couldn't be more of a common sense proposal than saying you have to provide voter ID to vote, just like when you check into a hotel or you buy an airline ticket, just to prove who you are. But I think it's really interesting and telling that two issues are converging at the same time. This issue of illegal immigration and this issue of voter ID. The Democrats aren't really quiet about it anymore. They're sort of saying the quiet part out loud, which is they want to bring in 15 to 20 million people in here illegally, and they want them to vote for them because they know their ideas are terrible and they can't win elections otherwise. And so what Republicans are saying is, no, look, we want the return of common sense. We want to make sure people are who they say they are. We want to make sure our elections are secure and that people aren't disenfranchised, the people who actually are supposed to vote, by allowing people who aren't supposed to vote actually vote.
Charles Lipson is back with us here from the University of Chicago. He writes at The Spectator, Real Clear Politics, and at charleslipson.com. How are you, Charles? Happy post-Super Bowl Monday.
I've been preoccupied trying to find a Kinko's.
Yeah. Here's what I've said. I think you'll appreciate this. I've said the real disenfranchised voters of America are the people that live south of Cook County in the state of Illinois, because they never have a say in anything. So I've always made the case that those are truly the disenfranchised voters.
Ain't it the truth? Look, I think that the most amusing story about voter ID that I've come across in the past week is that John Ossoff, who is a vulnerable Democrat in the Senate election coming up this fall from Georgia, is steadfast against voter ID. But you need to use an ID to get into any of his rallies.
Well, of course. Yeah, there's always the hypocrisy like this. You know, it's funny because when this was, and I swear I've said this, I've literally talked about this for 30 years, right? It was a big deal when I was up at WTMJ in Milwaukee. And then I would probably take this back to about 10 years ago, maybe even more, Charles, and you've been with me for a long time. It was when I was on KMOX. And for whatever reason, this became a big deal, voter ID, at this particular time. And I made the challenge on a regular basis to the people in the city of St. Louis on our board of aldermen and all these people that claimed it was racist. And, you know, you hear this crap like Chuck Schumer last week, Jim Crow 2.0. I said, you bring me one person. I said this repeatedly over a period of years. Bring me one person who doesn't have an ID and who can't vote. One disenfranchised person. No one could ever do it. They couldn't do it because they don't exist out there. So you have to have an ID to function.
That's the biblical tale of Sodom and Gomorrah. If you can find 10 honest people, if you can find 2 honest people, if you can find 1. I think maybe 15 years ago, there was some possibility. It was more a plausible issue. I had a friend who, at the time, was doing legal services for very poor people, and she said that her office which needed to be in downtown Chicago, they needed to find an office building that didn't require the people coming in to show an ID because not all of the very poor people that they were representing had one. But that's no longer an issue. It's just an old issue. But they want to throw this mud of racism at their opponents every time. I think that there are a couple of other issues, though. Let me just flag them. I think one is that voting is a state issue. So if you pass, and Trump has said he wants to nationalize voting, I think that's something that that conservatives can be on either side of, because I can see the position that you and I are taking about needing voter ID. On the other hand, do you want New York to make the laws for voting in Missouri?
Yeah, probably not. In fact, our Secretary of State has taken a stand against that issue, just so you know, as well.
Right, exactly. So that's an important issue. The other issue that's important is how many illegals get counted in the census, and that's a constitutional issue. And everything that discourages or deports or does anything like that for illegals lowers the representation of California and raises a representation for states like Missouri. And, of course, if you're a Democrat, you want those deep blue states to get all the representation. But I was just looking at California recently. The people moving out of California, there are people, the population is decreasing for the first time since the gold rush of 1849. I mean, America is unique in that you can move to Missouri, you can move to Texas, you can move to Florida if you don't like what's happening in Illinois.
Yep, and that's what people are doing, I think, in California.
They sure are.
In particular. On the voter ID front, though, because I'm going to go back to Schumer and Jim Crow 2.0. Because now, I mean, I will say, if you want to go back 10 or 15 years when I was talking about this, I was more concerned just about American citizens and whether or not they're voting and having ID. I think it's different now after you let 12 million people, whatever the number is. Now I'm more concerned, and this is where Senator Schmidt and others have concerns, that people – I'll offer it this way. When I was in Wisconsin, we debated this, and one of the reasons I think you have politicians and others who support this, or at least because they have in the past, giving IDs to illegals is because, well, you want to give them a driver's license because it's safer that way. If they don't have a driver's license, they don't know the rules of the road, they can't pass a test, it's going to be unsafe for people, right? Well – you give someone a driver's license, then you give them the right to vote, in theory. And one of the things that the other side always says about this is that when it comes to the disenfranchisement, it doesn't mean that you can't vote or cast your ballot. You can cast your ballot. It might be provisional because you can't prove who you are. If you prove who you are, then the ballot is cast. They like to manipulate that claim a lot as well, as I'm sure you know, Charles.
Absolutely. And this issue of driving, to me, the really serious issue, the most serious issue is big rigs. And it's now very clear that the deep blue states have been giving out commercial driver's licenses to people who don't speak English. And that's a danger to everybody who's on the road.
Major, major problem. Charles Lipson is back with us this afternoon. All right, in the Spectator for this week, you have a cover story called Midterm Mania that you wrote about. Now we're getting, real close because we're in mid-February and this stuff is going to really start kicking off. The polling on immigration doesn't look good for Trump. The polling on the economy is a little bit better, certainly. But, I'd like to hold out hope, Charles. You can probably dash my hopes here. Can there be some sort of economic miracle that will break against history where you have 17 out of the last 19 midterm elections that have gone to the other party? Will the economy be strong enough and will Trump's behavior be kind of hidden in the the back of the room to maybe shift things and keep Republicans in control of the House? My guess is you will not provide me with a lot of hope on that.
Well, I myself think it's a long shot.
Yeah.
But what the heck do I know? The fact is the incumbent party almost always loses seats in the House of Representatives in the midterms, and that's been true for Democrats and Republicans. There have been a few cases where it wasn't true. Wasn't true right after 9/11, for example. But if the economy recovers in a robust way, that would be important. The Democrats have a lot of deficits going into this, but they don't have a leader. They don't have an agenda. There was an old Groucho Marx movie in which he sang a song that said, "Whatever it is, I'm against it." And that's kind of the Democratic program right now. You can run on that in the midterms. You can't run on that in the presidential elections. I do think that one of the crucial issues in midterms is always turnout. And I saw an interview with Susie Wiles, who's the chief of staff in the White House and a very competent person, and she says they're going to get Trump back out on the stump in states that could be toss-ups so that they can get a turnout. The people who hate Trump are going to turn out. They have fire in their belly, and that is exactly why the Democrats have a good chance. And it's the odd thing about the economy. I'd be interested in your views on this, but the odd thing about the economy is that this is among the strongest records of GDP growth that we've ever seen. And yet employment is not surging up, and people don't feel it in their
weird time,
pocketbooks.
right? Well, because the inflation, even though inflation is slowing, I think we all feel it. If you shop, you fill up a grocery cart, you go out and buy things online,
right?
The price is just higher. I mean, it just is. And that's not really going away. Now, maybe is it increasing at a slower rate? Yes, it is. But I'm confused by a lot of what's happening in the economy. I really am, because I know that you have credit card defaults that are once again at like record highs. 5 years ago during the pandemic, we didn't have that. So my sense is that a lot of American people are racking up way too much debt, and they don't have the ability, like we would always do for a long time when we were kind of in the sweet spot of interest rates. They can't go and pull equity out of their home because they have a 3, or a 2.9 rate. So they're not going to do that. So I don't know where that puts us, because I do think that those credit card balances are high. We're seeing reports of that, and that's going to, I don't know. People are going to keep spending. They certainly did during the holidays, but that's going to catch up with them eventually.
That's exactly right. And I think you touched on the home ownership issue, and that's a real problem for a younger generation. The younger generation is actually tilting in a serious way, tilting Republican. So that's very good news. I think that we also see that Trump has made a very adroit shift on immigration, not about enforcement, but about going back to what they really promised as the headline news, which is they're going after the worst of the worst. I think people are a lot more favorable about that and a lot less favorable about the raids on Home Depot. Both involve people who are illegal, so I'm not trying to make that distinction, but they want to get the murderers out. And Trump really does deserve a significant credit for the reduction in crime that is happening everywhere. What's it like in St. Louis in terms of crime
It is down, but that's a combined. There's several things. Here's what I'd say about that. I cannot with confidence tell you that the crime is down, because the numbers are still a little shaky, because what happens is we don't have enough police officers. So someone can call 911 and we're not getting officers to show up. So technically, are the numbers down? Would Gabe Gore, who is our circuit attorney, tell you that? And the police chief, yes, and the mayor. But I think there's a question about how much crime is actually being reported accurately.
That is a great point. And I think the only numbers you can really trust on that are homicide numbers, because a lot of the other stuff, for example, forcible rape, some people just don't report it. And, or people may not report a break-in because they know that the police can't do anything about it.
The other thing is sometimes break-ins, like we have car lots or a situation at Busch Stadium where a car is broken into, but there's 15 cars, but that's one
reported
incident.
as one.
Right.
Yeah.
Cooking the books,
there's
if you will.
a lot of shaving of that sort of stuff. I think we've got some big indictments to come too, and I think on not only on what they tried to do to Trump. They tried everything to smear him, to throw him in jail, and so forth. And I expect some of that to come out before the election. That may have an effect too, but it's an uphill climb for the Republicans in the midterm. That's for sure.
Are you concerned at all about the Senate? I've heard more people express more concern. I mean, the Senate numbers probably will maybe dwindle, but are you worried at all about the control of the Senate? from what you can see right now.
Well, I'm worried, but I think it's unlikely right now that Republicans will lose control. I think what will happen in the House is they won't have an agenda. What they'll do other than impeach everybody they can throw mud at. And, of course, ultimately leading up to trying to impeach Trump. And the only question, the only thing that will hold them back on that is that they think it might not be the best way to go into the next presidential election. That what they're going to want to do is put out an affirmative agenda that they say will help poor people. But I really think that the key is that the tax cuts have to kick in. People have to feel it, and they have to feel that they are doing better and that they can attribute that doing better to a Republican agenda.
It's going to be interesting
when
because
you talk with Senator Schmidt, you'll have a better sense of that.
Yeah, because look, there's a lot of time between now and when people vote, and there's a lot of positivity that can certainly happen. There's other things that can throw you off the mark. I get frustrated. I don't have time to get into this right now, but you do that post last week on Truth Social with the Obamas on, the heads on the grill, stuff like that.
Oh.
It's just unforced errors have to stop. That's one thing I hope Susie Wiles can convince the president of. I'm not saying that he was personally responsible for that, and they realized it was a mistake. They should have pulled it down sooner, but that kind of stuff has to stop. It really does.
Yeah, don't throw interceptions.
Exactly. Charles Lipson, have a great week. Thank you so much.
Great to talk
Take
to
care.
you.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
There was a stall northbound 170 at 70 and on the left shoulder. So if you're headed up that way, that may be an issue. Now, on the Illinois side, we still have eastbound 64 slowing around 157. We had an earlier accident there, and it's road work. Accident reported southbound 55 near Bates in the construction zone. That was already a slow go. Westbound 64 is lined up approaching Kings Highway out through McCausland, and then a little bit at Lake St. Louis Boulevard. What we do have is an accident reported westbound 364 just past N. It's right there on your way to 6440 itself, and that has created a jam. 70 westbound, an accident west of 94 has caused a delay there. If you're headed into Illinois, we're okay on the Poplar Street Bridge, but a little slow at 3rd Street. This report brought to you by Point with an E Pest Control. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Annie here, and I can proudly say no more spiders in my home. I use Point Pest Control 4 times a year, and I haven't seen any, not a single one, since they've been in my home. Mention Annie and get 10% on top of any other special. Point Pest Control, 636-798-0023.
Hey, we have George Rosenthal likely coming up tomorrow for Tech Talk Tuesdays, and he's just awesome. We love ThrottleNet. We love the information that George shares with us on a regular basis. But let me talk about what they can do for you if you're a business owner here in St. Louis, because George and ThrottleNet have literally been helping St. Louis businesses navigate a very, very difficult landscape with technology for over 25 years, focusing on security strategy and keeping companies productive. That landscape is getting more challenging. ThrottleNet, meantime, is getting even better at what they do. And you should know, cyber threats are not just a big company problem. Small, mid-sized companies are being targeted. One click could really set you back and cost you a lot of money, if not your business. So where do you stand? Are you secure? Are you just one mistake away from a breach? If you don't know the answer to that, that's when you really get in touch with ThrottleNet. Or if you're just curious what they can do for you, because if you rely on technology, and who doesn't, this is a great first step. ThrottleNet.com/971 for a free baseline IT security audit. Again, ThrottleNet.com/971. It's a simple way to get clarity on your cybersecurity risk. And you'll hear George about 24 hours from now on Tech Talk Tuesdays.
Did you know replacing old vinyl windows with more vinyl windows might not be the best choice? Hi, it's Kim, and I'm here to tell you about Infinity from Marvin Windows, because these fiberglass windows, they're energy efficient, they're beautiful, and they're custom built to fit your home perfectly. The team at Lakeside Renovation and Design just makes the process so easy. I love the fact that they even offer a lifetime workmanship warranty. Look, if you're tired of drafts, high energy bills, or maybe hard to open windows, now is the time to upgrade. Visit windowsbylakeside.com to schedule your free consultation today.
Hi, it's Mark Cox inviting you to join me September 30th as we discover the charm of Switzerland, Austria, and Germany with Colette Travel. Spend 4 nights in Bern and then 4 nights at the foot of the Alps in Innsbruck. From the cobblestone streets to the postcard-worthy mountain landscapes of the amazing Alps, we're going to explore the Swiss capital of Bern and lovely Lucerne, the Swiss paradise on the lake. We'll travel the Austrian countryside to Salzburg with a visit to Mozart's birthplace, and then Mirabelle Gardens featured in The Sound of Music. This and so much more. Colette handles all the details. The flights, the meals, the hotels, the local experiences. All you have to do is have the time of your life. Don't miss this trip. Meet me and the folks from Colette to learn more at the Lodge at De Pere, Tuesday, February 24th at 2 p.m. Call Colette at 800-581-8942 or go to 971talk.com/events for details.
This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
All right, we got Kid Rock coming back to St. Louis May 15th at the Amphitheater, and I've had your first chance to win a pair of tickets this week right now. If you're calling number... This is so funny. I don't want you to be call number 18, but they give me these sheets all the time, and they actually say call number 18. We're not going to do that. We'll simplify it for Ethan. We'll do it call number 8. We'll take a 1 off of that. If you're call number 8 on the contest line right now, 314-241-9797, you get a pair of tickets courtesy of Live Nation and 97.1 FM Talk to go see Kid Rock at the Amphitheater. That should be a fun way to kick off summer on May 15th. You know, one of the regular rants that I've gone on, certainly more so since COVID, is against the so-called experts that we have, because the experts get it wrong a lot. I mean, a lot. And for those of you listening from SLU or WashU or one of our, very highly esteemed academic institutions, I hate to tell you, but your colleagues, and you get it wrong a lot. I want to talk about bees real quick. Now, I'm going to talk about bees, and I'm going to even tell you that because of the confusion about bees and the experts confusing us, I can't even tell you what I'm about to tell you is true. But what I will say is that be careful what you believe. This is where you can't trust anything. I remember this being a big deal. Remember when we were killing off the honeybees, right? The Obama administration did the National Honeybee Day. There were articles. Where did all the honeybees go? Oh, we killed the honeybees, right? People were confused. They had a hive that was installed at the White House in 2009. And it made honeybee health an item in what they called the Pollinator Partnership Action Plan in the first Trump administration. Now, this is according to the Washington Post, all right? This is the reporting. The U.S. Department of Agriculture urged Americans to consider setting up hives where possible. Vice President Pence did at the vice presidential, residence. The Sierra Club said honeybees are endangered. They have a save the bees, save humanity, all those things, right? States and cities encouraged lobbyists to raise bees. Corporations touted their honeybee friendliness. Many well-intentioned people answered these appeals. We had Morgan Freeman, Jennifer Garner, Beyonce. They took up beekeeping. Slight problem. It was all built on a fallacy. It was never anything we needed to do.
I was so mad about that.
It's ridiculous. So honeybees were never, ever in trouble in all of the efforts to boost their numbers. This is my favorite part. Actually screwed the other bee populations.
Oh,
so listen to this. So this took place, I guess, in the aftermath of what they called the colony collapse disorder, which I guess a good portion of the global crop production depends on insect pollination.
It does. That was part of it.
Right. But they say in this story that honeybees are not native insects or even wild insects. They are managed livestock like pigs and cattle.
Oh.
So we save honeybees simply by raising more of them. Though colonies still fail at high rates, the Agriculture Department's most recent count found that we're at a record high. We have 3.8 million honeybee colonies in the United States. That's up over 25% over the last 5 years. But now this is where we get to the part where I cannot tell you if this is true or not because I can't trust the experts. This expert says the problem is we've been saving the wrong bees. Elevating a single species of interlopers above our 4,000 native bees, scientists are finding that honeybees can actually accelerate the demise of bumblebees and other natives by spreading disease, outcompeting native bees for pollen and nectar, which kind of makes sense, and helping to promote non-native plants at the expense of the native plants on which the native bees thrive. So you have all these people that got into beehives because they thought that they were helping the bees, but having the hives doesn't help the native bees. It doesn't even help the honeybees, and it might hurt the other bees. You can't make this stuff up.
Who told us there was a honeybee problem? Because I fell for it.
This goes back. They say it started with this concern about pollination 20 years ago. Who eventually started the Save the Bees thing. Look, I remember talking about it on KMOX.
Yeah, it was a thing.
It was a thing, and we're all worried about the bees.
Yep.
But I just think that this is hilarious that we were trying to do something, and we were told by the legacy media that you have to do this, and we were told by our elected officials as well. And, this guy who writes this says, look, it's kind of humbling when you think about the mistakes because you think you're making scientific progress, and then you realize how little we know. Let me talk about this and frame it around something else maybe we've talked about for my entire life that has been a complete fallacy. What's that? Oh, yeah, climate change. I forgot. I got to go out with a little Kid Rock here. We gave our tickets away. More tickets to give away each and every day this week, courtesy of Live Nation. Ben Ferguson. I don't think I've ever had Ben on my show. Great conservative pundit. Coming up.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Southbound 55 slowing south of Arsenal down through Bates as you really head into the it marks honor the twisty-turny part of the construction zone. Now, westbound 64 is a slow go. Kings Highway out through McCausland. Eastbound is slowing right there at Big Bend. 70 westbound isn't bad until you get to the part where you approach 94. There's an accident on the west side of that causing delays. And an accident westbound 364 just past Highway N as you head for 64, and that's causing delays. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Well, I got to incentivize you to head out to one of the 3 great locations from Michael's Flooring Outlet. Mike and the team, they have so much knowledge of this industry, and technology has taken us a long way when it comes to flooring, and they can guide you through the particulars. Maybe you still are into soft flooring, silky soft carpet from Mohawk, one of the best in the industry. Mohawk has a lot of other, hard flooring brands as well, and different style selections, looks, grains, colors, and performance. And performance might be just based on what your needs are. If you don't have kids or you don't have pets, you might not be looking for something that is more anti-scratch or anti-stain resistance, but they can guide you into the right product. That's why the team at Michael's is so important. And look, nothing against the big box stores, but I can promise you, going into a big box store looking for flooring, talking to someone who has very little, if any, experience in flooring is a dramatically different experience from trusting the pros at 3 great locations in Old Town St. Peter's, in Darden Prairie, and in West County on Olive, and the website IGotFloored.com. Mike Reynolds has an awesome team. They'd love to help you with some flooring needs, some repairs, some services. You can find it all at IGotFloored.com for Michael's Flooring Outlet.
Mark Cox here. Join me, Annie Fry, and Mark Reardon and learn how to create a worry-free retirement with the Retirement Advisory Group. It's coming up on Tuesday, February 17th at the DoubleTree Hotel in Chesterfield at 6:30 p.m. Here are Bob and Tammy Kershaw with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and wondering how to turn your 401k and IRA into a worry-free retirement? Would you like to learn the strategies that give you market growth but protects you from market losses at the same time?
Would you like to get a free personalized retirement income plan? And did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free to create a worry-free retirement? If you're 59 and a half or older, you cannot afford to miss this event.
Have a worry-free retirement and join the official financial advisors of my show, Bob and Tammy Kershaw, at the DoubleTree Hotel in Chesterfield, Tuesday, February 17th at 6:30 p.m. Go to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-700-6898 or biglou.com.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
5:34, and this portion of the show is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Well, we did get a winner on the Kid Rock tickets, and we have a pair to give away each and every day this week. I'm trying to figure out if the tickets for that show actually went on sale. I'll figure that out. But we'll have more tickets to give away tomorrow between 3 and 6. I have an audio cut of the day before the hour is up. Right now we have Ben Ferguson, nationally syndicated radio talk show host. He is the host of the Ben Ferguson podcast and the co-host of The Verdict with Ted Cruz. We're going to talk a little bit about Netflix and Warner Brothers and some other issues. Ben Ferguson, welcome to 97.1 FM Talk. How are you?
Man, it's great to be with you. Thanks for having me.
I have, over my non-illustrious career, interviewed many a conservative pundit, but I believe this is the first time I'm having you on my show, so I'm honored by that.
Well, thank you. Thanks for inviting me, and I promise you I will come back anytime.
Well, before we get into the Netflix stuff, I'm very interested in that, but what the question of the day, Bad Bunny, Ben, go. What did you think last night?
Yeah. I said this on TV earlier today. I have no problem if you want to have some music guy on or gal, so be it. But when you clearly are giving the middle finger to your American audience, and that's what the NFL did, I don't blame Bad Bunny. I know him. He's a guy that likes to burn the American flag and wear dresses on stage. Like, that's who he is. He's a guy that wanted to have the Independence Puerto Rican flag. A lot of people didn't notice that last night. But the flag that he was using was the one that is the flag they use at rallies to separate from America. And Roger Goodell and the NFL are nothing more than an activist organization. We saw it with Black Lives Matter. We've seen it with them putting in not one, but now they say you got to have two, national anthems before the Super Bowl. The African-American one, apparently, and then the other one, right? So I don't want a black national anthem, a white one, a Hispanic one. I just want a national anthem.
Right.
And this is what I say activism looks like by these too big to fail companies, is how I describe them. That's what the NFL is. And whether it's painting their end zones or the back of their helmets or having, Colin Kaepernick kneeling during the national anthem, remember that? That was the NFL. And so, and then they want to be patriotic all of a sudden. And they're like, all right, well, at the end of the year, to celebrate all you suckers that bought tickets to the NFL games, we're going to give you the middle finger and tell you why you should be ashamed of America, because that's really what this was about. And this was an individual that also said months ago, you've got, 4 months to learn Spanish, so you know what I'm saying at the ball game. Like, I've never seen this level of contempt for an audience that makes you billions of dollars in revenue. But here it is, the NFL, they went above and beyond.
It pisses me off because I love the game. I mean, my wife and I, we're huge NFL fans. We're Packers and Chiefs fans. And we kind of arrange our Sundays around NFL games, as sad as that might seem. But, here they are again doing exactly what you said with the middle finger. And you know what? The show was, I didn't hate it, but it just didn't make any sense, mainly because I didn't understand a damn word of it. But the NFL is going to do what the NFL is going to do. And arguably, as non-entertaining as the halftime show was, Ben, it might have been better than the game, if you think about it.
Yeah, it was. Well, and you also just laugh. Like I said this earlier as well. It's like, the Olympics are going on right now. But if NBC News started broadcasting the Olympics in another language, you'd be like, this is stupid, and you would turn the channel, right? Like, they're not going to put it in Russian if you're in America. Why? Because we do speak English here. Does that mean that you're racist if you don't know another language, or somehow you're some sort of horrible human being? No, like, that's the native language of the United States of America. There are some people that are bilingual, but NBC News is doing the Olympics in what? English. All the commentators are speaking in English because that is what it is. And all over the world, whether it's in Italy, the Middle East, Russia, China, Japan, Germany. They're broadcasting it in their native language. And so for then at halftime to say, no, hold on a second, we're going to tell you why America's bad and evil, and we're going to then look at you and tell you that you need to change, you need to be different. That is corporate activism 101, and until fans leave, this will never stop.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. Ben Ferguson is with us this afternoon. All right, let's talk about this Netflix and Warner deal, and maybe start by explaining the dynamics a little bit, because there's competing offers here. I think the audience, for the most part, really isn't dialed into this. I've followed it a little, but maybe just the landscape before we get into the particulars.
Yeah, so I wrote an op-ed for FoxNews.com, and it was about the Tuesday hearing. And I described it this way. I said, Congress is holding a high-stakes hearing that goes well beyond Hollywood. It's about American jobs, who controls our media, and U.S. national security. And I said, if Ronald Reagan were alive today, he would have urged every American to watch the hearing closely, because Reagan understood the cultural, the storytelling, and the power of America as a weapon, I would say, of battle of ideas around the world. And I went into this deal, and what concerns me the most in this merger, and look, at Netflix, I've been critical of Netflix in the past and certain things that they have put out there. But what I do love about this deal with Netflix is the fact that they're going to keep making movies in this country without foreign interference. And the national security aspect of this for me is massive, because one of the things that people don't realize on the other side of this deal is the money that's coming in on the Paramount side is $24 billion from foreign governments. This includes the Saudi fund that did Live Golf, that's from Saudi Arabia. You got billions coming in from Abu Dhabi and Qatar. Now, I go back to this. I'm a minimum regulations guy, but we do have laws on the book for a reason. And you do not want to have the loss of American movies and American studios or cram downs from the Middle East who are trying to buy influence, not just in our country, but around the world. And if you don't believe me, look at what happened with Top Gun Maverick. I mean, if you go back, he had a leather jacket he put on. It depicted the flag of Taiwan. There was no violence, no offensive content. It was a jacket that 99.9% of people watching it would have never noticed. And what do? They banned the movie for all of China from the theaters or being able to stream it or anything because of that. Do you really want those types of people influencing our movies in America and funding them, right? Because if your dollars are coming from the Middle East or from foreign countries to make movies, they'll absolutely dictate to you. That's the reason why we just broke up TikTok and said it's got to be American-owned. And Ronald Reagan understood this long before streaming existed. He knew movies and television and storytelling were a powerful tool in the battle of ideas and freedom. And so that's why I said to so many people in this op-ed, and you can go, again, read it at foxnews.com, but it was a warning, and I was telling people, you got to pay attention to things that maybe aren't sexy news stories, and this is one of them.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. One of the things that you said is you're not defending a corporation, you're defending American workers and American creativity and America's strategic interests. And the foreign interference aspect of this is quite honestly something I didn't think of. On the hearing last week, though, I did think, and I listened to some of it, it seemed like there was a lot of opposition to the merger by Republicans.
Well, and I think if you listen to what that was about, it was about what Netflix had done. And Josh Hawley's a great example, right? He was talking about what they had put out in the past. And look, if I was Netflix, my response would have been, hey, we put out content that people download. And if the people decide that we've crossed a line, then they're going to react and they're going to cancel their subscriptions. And that would have been as far as I would have talked about, because for me, it's not about that. Or even defending it. I think that's a separate, completely different conversation. This is about who controls what we watch on TV. And do I want foreign governments with billions of dollars of influence to then own this content, and not only own it, but maybe change it, alter it, and then decide what movies will be made or what movies will not be made?
That's a bad thing, right?
Imagine if they would have said, no, Top Gun's too pro-America. We're not going to do Top Gun Maverick.
Should CNN be included in this deal?
The CNN breaking off aspect of it, I don't really think it matters one way or the other. Like, CNN's going to exist. I get really concerned when people want to start canceling. Look, I fight the commies on CNN all the time. In fact, I spent 7 years in hell there as a contributor fighting the commies, and then I decided to take a vacation. But I still go back and I fight on Abby's show. And I think it's important. I don't want to get rid of CNN or MS Now. But guess what? I get to choose if I want to watch Fox News Channel or Newsmax or whatever you want to watch as a conservative. And so this idea that, that should or shouldn't be in there, I'm not. I will say this. I don't want any foreign governments owning an American news channel. That's for damn sure. We already saw Al Jazeera America and RT, which was Russia Today, when they got in the game in the U.S., and they were putting out full-blown propaganda in this country. That concerns me more than anything. But when you think about Russia, when they did RT, Russia Today, and they put it up on Americans, and it was carried on American TVs, that was a direct pipeline that they would never have allowed if it was American influence in Russia. They would have never, ever allowed that to happen. And so I love knowing that free speech is alive and well, but ultimately the viewers decide, and RT is no longer since they went into Ukraine and it was shut down after that. And so, look, I think that's a good thing.
And Ben, what is the next step here? I mean, we're getting close to finality?
No, this could take months or years.
Oh, yeah, really?
Absolutely. So right now what happens is it's going to end up going to the next stage. And Congress had these hearings, but it's going to go to the next stage of this. We may not get a ruling from the courts on this. It could be 6 months to more than a year. And I think there's a very good chance they're going to look at this. They're going to look at the global competition. They're going to look at China and other foreign powers and how they're using culture as leverage. And I say this, America cannot afford to weaken one of our most powerful tools that Ronald Reagan understood more than anybody else, and that is sending out what America looks like, what freedom looks like, what great movies look like from our perspective all over the world, because that has more influence around the world than anything else we ever do on a day-to-day basis.
So you're talking to a guy whose first president that he voted for was Ronald Reagan in 1984, and if I'm not mistaken, doing a little math here, that was kind of maybe the year you were born almost, right? Right around there?
I was in 1981.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so I love the homage to Ronald Reagan. I was very proud. I always tell people, I had an election party that year, and we gave the Democrats at my party, and this was in a real crappy little tiny apartment that was basically the size of the studio I'm in right now. I gave Dixie cups to the Democrats and then champagne glasses to the Republicans. Even back then, Ben Ferguson, I kind of had it together. How about that?
That's awesome. Well, you were ahead of your time.
Exactly. That's what they say all the time. Listen, thank you so much. I appreciate your perspective on this issue. We'll have you back, Ben. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for having me, man.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We've got some volume out there on westbound 6440, but boy, it's better than it was. Just Hampton now, out through McCausland. 70 westbound still looks pretty good, but a big jam on westbound 364 as you head for 6440, and it's a big jam that goes back past Bryan Road. Now, on the Illinois side, we've had some issues, but it's looking better right now. Just some moderate volume eastbound 64 near 157 where we've got some road work. Accident northbound 270 at 370. Causing delays. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic. This report is brought to you by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis has been around for 100 years, and they know Midwest winters take a real toll on your garage. They will come out and perform their 26-point tune-up on your garage door and opener. Just one price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. Schedule online, overheaddoorstlewis.com. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Well, you've probably heard me talking about Game Day Men's Health, and I would encourage you guys to go to their website at gamedaymenshealth.com. They offer a lot of services, and they do it in a top-notch style here in St. Louis, out in Chesterfield. Matt Lawrence has a great location off of 6440 Clarkson and Olive, still offering a free testosterone and PSA test if you just go into the office for a 1-hour visit. Within 20 minutes, you'll have the results of that, and they can come up with a plan for you. But they do a lot of things, like there's ED treatments that are very discreet and better than the blue pill. There's testosterone health with I just mentioned. If you're looking to optimize energy levels, they can help you out there. Vitamin injections are relatively popular right now. Peptides, for example, have really blown up. What's that all about? And are you getting the best information? Because they're going to give you the best information. Medical weight loss. And they have their own pharmacy at Game Day Men's Health, so that really helps. So if you have any questions about any of those treatments, or you just want to take advantage of that free 1-hour visit and find a game plan for yourself, go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com. There's a location in O'Fallon, Missouri. I'm preferential to Matt's team out there in Chesterfield, so make an appointment I know you're not going to be upset. They're going to take great care of you. Awesome customer service, world-class staff. GameDayMen'sHealth.com.
97.1 FM Talk is proud to support Bourbon for Badges. Mark Cox here. It's hosted by the St. Louis Whiskey Society and the St. Louis Hero Network, February 27th at Tapawingo Golf Club. Get your tickets now at bourbonforbadges.com.
The legends ride again. Willie Nelson and the Outlaw Music Festival is rolling back into St. Louis June 28th at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. Don't miss the living legends. Willie Nelson, Bob Dylan, along with Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats and more, live right here in St. Louis. This is country the way it was meant to be. Tickets are still available, so get them before they're gone. More information can be found at KMOX.com/events.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
You're listening to The Mark Reardon Show, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Well, we sit here on February 9th after the Super Bowl. Now, this is what Ethan told me earlier, Sue, and I'm going to go based on what he said. It might be fake news, but that's okay. We'll see. He tells me that next year's Super Bowl is the night before President's Day. Okay. Now, President's Day is next Monday, a week from today, right? We will not be here because we will be honoring our nation's presidents by taking that day off. And then I'm going to just honor all day long. But are you telling me that next year we might, now this depends on whether the company has this as a holiday, but essentially the Super Bowl is right before President's Day next year?
What I'm telling you is that we, assuming that we have the same holiday schedule, or at least that part doesn't change, we will have the day after the Super Bowl off.
Okay, wait a minute. It's also on Valentine's Day.
So that's
exactly. This is the bigger
other
issue.
part.
Yes, Ethan, make the plea for the men of America right now because you're going to need to do some planning.
Gentlemen, you have 364 days. Well, I guess a few more than that. You got, 68 days? Start preparing now.
But this is good advice because that is, if you want a restaurant for that Saturday night, you better book it right now. Are you kidding me?
I looked last week for a place, and it wasn't necessarily... Not because necessarily that it was Valentine's Day, but when I was looking for a reservation, it was already. I don't know how it's going to work next year.
When I told this information to Mark this afternoon, I said I have good news and I have bad news for you. Which one do you want?
I wanted the good news first. I like the good news.
And then I told you that we have a day off after it, but you're going to have to fight with Valentine's Day.
But see, you're acting like you're the president of the company. They changed. Remember last year they changed the calendar because what happened this year is we didn't even know this. We got the day after New Year's off, right? Mm-hmm. Yep. But they took away Veterans Day.
Yes.
Right.
Well, so we have gotten President's Day off in the past.
Consistently.
So let's just hope that it stays the same.
There is a part of me that likes that because we always talk about the holiday, making the Monday after the Super Bowl holiday. But then how can we bitch about the halftime show if we're not on the air?
Well, that's a really good point.
Yeah, exactly.
But who really looked at this and thought, Valentine's Day, let's do that instead of the week before? What?
Roger Goodell, apparently.
Stand by. Playback ready.
Now, the audio cut of the day.
Now this is just Bad Bunny every time he said, "Ay!" But this is maybe my favorite response. This one went a little viral today, Sue. I don't know if you heard the grandma who was very confused. Grandma didn't know what the hell was going on. Neither did most of the country.
I'm like, who is this man? Golly. He can't sing. What is this? Golly.
Oh, Grandma.
They got the American flag and all these other flags. And God bless you too. Get off the stage. Please get off the stage. Get off. Put the game back on. I can't stand this.
Yeah, she's speaking for a lot of people in this country. But if you're a liberal and you hate Trump, it doesn't even matter if you knew anything about Bad Bunny. You thought it was the greatest Super Bowl halftime show ever in history, never, ever to be paralleled. I promise you, because I've seen you on Facebook today declare your love. You've watched it multiple times. It was so inspiring. Stop it. Stop it. Seriously. On a serious note, and this is serious, we got another video from Savannah Guthrie today, and this one really didn't even make an appeal to whoever might be if that's even the situation, keeping her mother. It was really to the American people.
We received your message, and we understand.
That's the wrong one. So that was Saturday. So Saturday, they basically said, we need proof of life. All right. But then this was today.
Hi there, everybody. I wanted to come on and just share a few thoughts as we enter into another week of this nightmare. I just want to say, first of all, thank you so much for all of the prayers and the love that we have felt, my sister and brother and I, and that our mom has felt. Because we believe that somehow, some way, she is feeling these prayers and that God is lifting her even in this moment and in this darkest place. We believe our mom is still out there. We need your help.
So basically, it was a plea to say, if you've seen anything, if you suspect anything, I mean, it's desperation. But we're on day 9 now, and they were searching Nancy Guthrie's property today and looking down the hole of a septic tank. And Fred said that they, someone on Fox even indicated that there are more people that are killed and then, put down a septic tank that you might imagine, but they were just trying to be thorough. The other thing is that there was some theory that maybe some electronics or something was flushed down the toilet. That sounds really weird, but they were looking around that septic tank on the property today.
And I was reading that there is a deadline tonight, but they're still unable to confirm whether these are the real kidnappers.
And that deadline
is Bitcoin at 5
4 minutes
Pacific.
away. It's 4 minutes away because they only have the 1 hour difference. So we'll see if we find anything out. Sue, we'll talk tomorrow at 3.
You got it.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Watch out for an accident on northbound 270 at 370. That's causing a delay. As is the accident westbound 364 approaching 64. We've got a jam back past Bryan Road. That is the worst of it. Now, southbound 55, we did have a report of a stall or an accident south of Butler Hill, causing a delay there. If you're headed into Illinois, though, things look fine on the bridges downtown. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Sue, I have to tell you that you on the Monday edition of Sue's News earlier, you introduced us to something that probably most of the audience does not like. But I have to tell you, because this was it here. It was called Chicken Banana. Ready?
Chicken Banana. Chicken banana.
Okay, that's all I'll do. But what I'll tell you is that I'm getting ready to show this to my daughter.
Yes.
And the video is even better. It's just a bunch of eggs and bananas. I have to show it to you tomorrow. But I have to share that with Alexa. All right, Banner Construction. Bill Kaufman's been a friend for a long time. Bill and Sam P. have built a company here in St. Louis that really is unmatched in its excellence and service. And if you're looking for an exterior remodel of your home with some new siding, you want to go with the best. And the best is Banner Construction, the best product that they can offer you. And they have others, but the best is James Hardie Fiber Cement Siding. They specialize in the Hardie siding, also in pellet replacement windows. The website really is extremely helpful if you go to bannerconstruction.com. I like to recommend clicking on the showcase. When you do that, you'll see homes from Chesterfield, from O'Fallon, from Baldwin, from the city of St. Louis, from Creve Coeur that have been really changed dramatically to become the best-looking homes in the neighborhood when they had plain, light vinyl siding, really sprucing them up with some amazing colors and styles, offsetting with some bright white softened fascia. That's what they do at Banner Construction. Get with them today for a free estimate, bannerconstruction.com.
Zero Res wants to give your home the love and attention it deserves. Mark Cox here. Get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $119.